things. Like Maru's TVZ, like many of his matchups, is divided into two very separate chapters. I open up with something strange and unique and aggressive, and I look for damage and I look for the victory. And the moment things don't look like they're going well, bam, back to turtling up, get those planetaries down, go to the late game, get the ghosts up, and play out that stage where he is just completely unrivaled.
It's almost an unfair advantage, right? Where you can open with whatever you want, because at the end of the day, you can just fall back to sitting back, defending, because you're so freaking good at it. Most people, when they do those sort of aggressive openings, they've got to have the risk of, well, if it doesn't work, I'm probably dead. But Maru can throw them out so much more easily, and I think that is what makes him obviously so dangerous, that and his ability to then play that epic late game style. We'll see what we get. Obviously, Waterfall doesn't really suggest the idea of late game. It's small, it's potentially very aggressive, but there is a world in which, you know, you kind of have limited ways across the map, so if they do draw it out to a late stage, it might get to that point where we're waiting and waiting, split map, for them to finally take some fights into each other.
Absolutely. And I mean, looking at the architecture of this map, knowing how these players play, I can't imagine anything except dark flooding roaches across the map. Honestly, Woody, like, I look at this map and I'm like, Maru, I hope you have a plan for dealing with 100 roaches with roach speed and 1-1 coming across, because, I mean, if even then, it's dark. He might just hit you with 9 roaches at the 5-minute mark. You never quite know, but definitely a high chance of Zerg aggression to get out there and preempt. Oh, wow!
Wow, that is massive.
He just did a little dance. Yeah. You see that Dark just did a little happy, satisfied wiggle in his chair there. A big smile. That is a way to start off the grand finals.
Wow, Maru's just going to play just all out. He's like, okay, lose my replay. The last thing you expect me to do right now is probably go triple CC, right? Because I've got to be really careful in case you do get aggressive, because I can't scout it anymore. I was going to say I'd love to see double Banshee or just cloaked up Banshees here from Maru. It keeps you safe, gives you aggressive options, gets you into a mid-game on the map you clearly want to play aggressively on. Now Dark scouts that third CC so quickly, though. Does he just say, okay, scrap that, you're not getting away with this, let's put down a Roach Roar and go? Or what's he going to do? For now, just ling speeding and droning.
Super economic opening for Dark. I got to say, I've been so critical. I've cast so much Dark, and I love him. And you know when you love a player so much, you get a little bit critical of like his early game inefficiencies. He's been so clean in his openings today. It is actually uncharacteristic how fast he is droning up. That third is so quick. He's droning so hard, and he's clearly looking to not do what's expected. I'm saying watch out for roach aggression. We're saying watch out for mass roach pushes. It's ling speed, it's a third base, it's good creep spread. This is about as solid as you could possibly go. Dark is clearly looking to buck the expectations of his opponents. He did it earlier today against Hero as well. And I think it's a great way to open up the series, especially after sniping that Reaper, and hopefully he can get this creep across this river.
It's funny because I think one of my favorite quotes of recent months was when Maru was talking about playing Dark. He's like, man, it's just so much scarier when he plays Lingbane compared to the roaches. And that's obviously kind of funny because we know Dark for loving his roaches, but he did start introducing a lot more double Evo stuff, melee upgrades, Lingbane. And it's true, once he did that, it felt like he kind of evolved the game, because that dual threat of potentially roaches, but also having that more standard game plan, it just really makes the Terran think about what's going on. They can't pre-prepare for everything every single game, like you know what's going to happen. So yeah, I love it from Dark.
I couldn't agree more on that.
I like the fact he's macroing it up a little bit. You know, I feel like, yeah, you see that third CC, but no, if he plans to macro this map, stick to it, see how it goes, even though it's Maru's kind of favored map.
Now, Maru obviously already has a couple of barracks there. He's pumping out the medevacs and the Marines behind this. The Hellions just having a little light poke for now, but those 1-1 upgrades are so early. Dark realizing this is going to be going long, and this is a great way to preempt the 3 command center opening. You're like, you know what? I'm actually going to have my upgrades like a full minute ahead of yours. The question for me, though, is how do you establish both a 4th and a 5th base? Because the creep's already delayed on the right side. And, I mean, once you take a 5th base, you're just exposed to getting pushed by the Terran. I feel like you have to be kind of preemptively setting up run buys, big counterattacks and backstabs, because just attacking into their push front on can be quite scary.
Yep, and you just don't have that much time to prepare for it, so I'm with you. Just be preemptive, get across the map early, be ready to cause chaos for the Terran player. As these few Hellions just checking in on the 4th base it's building. And Maru's going to aim to keep that bottom right side denied. He's going to have a medevac drop over here, he'll unload, get rid of this Overlord, push the creep back a little bit, just take this bottom right corner out of the equation for at least the foreseeable future. He's also going to get rid of some of that creep in the middle of the map, which is obviously really nice to do as well, just taking map control away from Dark. It's a small map, so creep gets across very quickly, and that's a second Overlord kill as well, so it's a great first drop from Maru.
Yeah, that's huge. Sniping a few of these Overlords, just pushing back the creep quite far. There's only 7 Queens out in this game. Dark didn't go too high on the Queens. He wants to get that economy up, and then, of course, have an abundance of Zergling production. He's playing a 4-gas style, which means he's going to have just masses of Zergling, Baneling, and I think he really wants Maru to overextend and throw some of these units away so he can counterattack.
Yeah, those few Queens moving forward. Medivacs do lift up. They are going to move into the main base. A Spore Crawler there, instantly in position to deal with that and just to dissuade the Medivacs from committing further. We're about to hit those 1-1 upgrades, and with that, of course, maybe Maru will ramp up the aggression a little bit. Dark does not miss a beat, but though, going into his +2 melee, I imagine his +2 Carapace will be very soon to follow, accompanied now by Baneling Speed on the way. And we actually have a little bit of a run-by coming through. Now, Maru's army is still nearby on the left side. That upper left post is maybe a little bit overwhelmed. He's got a few helis to help out too, and Maru's just going to stand and fight. He can lift up when he feels he needs to. That's going to be now, but already 9, 10 SCVs going down.
What a crazy attack, just mass Zerglings right with 1-1 finishing. He says, guess what? You don't have your upgrades yet. I do, even getting a few depots on top of it. Maru stims his entire drop home just to reestablish control over his third base. And Dark behind it, 66 workers. He's still not playing a high worker count because he wants to always have just a huge army, a very mineral-focused force, and that's going to give him enough numbers to both defend the drops and backstab at will. Not to mention the quick infestation pit. Fast ultras are absolutely in his sights.
Yeah, still this bottom right side a little bit unprotected by, creep in front of it, so that's going to be a cancel here from Dark, just gets it down. We'll scan to once again keep that issue in play. The lack of creep in that bottom right hurting Dark. But otherwise, yeah, just great. Just finds that moment where he has that upgrade lead, gets across, does some damage. And you're right, he just wants to play with a ton of units here because he wants to make sure, hey, look, I'm ready to deal with any of your attacks. You can't overwhelm me if I play like this. And if I can just slowly get up to ultras and so on, I can break any kind of continued aggression that you usually try and do.
Yeah, great spread on the units for Dark. He's getting a little bit more creep out there. Of course, Maru on this small map's done such a good job of slowing that creep down. And he does have a drop on the left side as well. It's unloading, getting ready to move forwards. The Hive has started. 2-2 is almost finished, and that's going to open up another window. I would not mind Dark going for another giant Ling Bane attack with 2-2. You got to remember, though, that there are tanks on the high ground. Maru is very aware that this might be coming, so he's got one tank behind it. His drops, it's just a handful of Marines on either side. Everything else is set up in a super defensive stance because he senses that Dark wants to pounce.
Yeah, this Medevac job trying to find a way, but Dark's obviously super on top of it. As Maru is going to continue on through. Extra factory coming in, 4th base, knowing he can't get too aggressive off the 3 bases, just setting up for the future instead. Because we know Maru, he will be happy to just sit back and play this long if that's what he feels his best chances.
2-2's finishing, Wardy. He's about to go. Dark wants to go for a giant attack here, but Maru, he's trying to turtle up at home. The sensor tower making Dark second guess himself, and I think for good reason. These drops are very annoying. Oh, he's going for it. Dark's going for it. He's pulling the trigger, and he's going to dive on that 3rd base. The tank's trying to defend in the natural and in the high ground, but a bunch of them going down. Baneling's breaching the natural wall.
Oh no, I mean, Maru has to completely evacuate the 3rd base. A surprisingly low amount of workers going down so far, but you know what? There's still Ling Bane here, and it's in the natural expansion now. Maru has too many units out on the map, and Dark is just going to crush on through. Those upgrade timings in this game were deadly. First 1-1, gets a great trade, then 2-2, a game-ending battle, and Dark will take a 1-0 lead on Waterfall in this best of 7. And Maru's just sat there thinking, man, and I thought this map was playable.
Yeah, it feels playable until your first Reaper gets surrounded by 6 Zerglings. Wardy coming straight off, of course, another, taxing semi-final there, and he's got a smile on his face. He's like, man, you got me, bro. All right, well done. It's a very clever way to play the map, and I think that's a very important one because that was, of course, Maru's map pick, Waterfall. But you play a bit of a higher risk, higher reward style there. I think not only getting the Reaper, but the Overlord seeing the 3rd command center. So Dark immediately knew what he was up against, and he just was like, nah, get the 3rd, get the 4th, get the sick upgrade timings going. And hitting before those key upgrades are there. Usually the Zerg is always defensive at this stage of the game. This is so uncharacteristic. Maru's not used to playing against that.
Yeah, I love it, right? It's just saying, right, what advantages do I have? Well, my upgrades are really quick. I know they are because I've seen everything he's doing. So let's just hit when those upgrades are in my favor. And again, both times it just knocks Maru back that little bit more. And when you're playing aggressively like Dark is, there's no real opening for Maru to sit back and get back in that situation as we get ourselves ready for Our next map here in just a few moments. It's going to be Dark's map pick coming up. As it is Cosmic Sapphire, big one coming up next.
You know, I'm not good at reading Korean, but translating their English in the chat in between game, Maru seemed to be commenting on the strength of Zerg there, and Dark putting some Z's out in the chat and then saying 6 Zergling good, apparently, referring to the Surround and the Reaper at the start. So a bit of banter between these two and some other words of respect going down as well. We are going to be going to the second map. It is a big one. Let's put on your macro shoes. Down here at the bottom right side, representing Onside Gaming, it's Maru. The only player to ever win every single GSL in an entire year back in 2018.
And what an accomplishment that is, as in the top left-hand side, up 1-0 from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is Dark.
'19 world champion and an absolutely fantastic player. He's adaptable, he's flexible. His ability to play here in these tournaments is second to none. And the thing is, part of what allows him to do that, similar to guys like Raynor, is he is mechanically gifted. I'm telling you, the first time when they had it, I think it was like BlizzCon 2015 or 2016, I was watching him. They had the big first-person view screen set up, and I was just sitting in the audience going, what am I watching? Like, I've never seen someone play so fast, so clean with their mouse in chaotic situations. He just kind of flows with it, and yeah, one of the quickest players to ever grace the game.
It is ridiculous watching some of these guys just in first person, stood behind them here in Valencia, just watching them go everywhere, processing information before you even really pick up what's on the screen. It's funny because I know Roddy was talking earlier. He's like, Clem's been having fun streaming lately, but man, he's a terrible streamer because his stream moves too quickly.
Yeah.
And it's so true, right? I mean, unless you're super diehard StarCraft, it makes you dizzy.
Every time I like to do, a little FPV review of his game sometimes, and without a doubt, I'm always like, okay, I'm gonna take it off. We skip the first 2 minutes when he's spamming his cameras. It's just way too dizzying, man. Same thing with these guys. What I'm really impressed by with Maru, plays with the lowest scroll speed. So when you put your mouse on the edge of the screen, the speed that scrolls at, out of any pro gamer, I think he keeps it on 30%, I believe it is, or maybe 40. So it's really slow, but he just never scrolls. He's always using control groups, camera locations, and clicking on the minimap. And he's so precise. So Maru has this kind of, he almost looks like he's playing slow, but he's just so efficient with what he does. It's an amazing thing to behold.
An efficient APM, man, as we do get ourselves set up here. Our command centers are finishing up into orbitals, and that does set us off on this nice big map. The standard opening, obviously it's not going to be any Reaper here or anything, just one Marine off the barracks into the factory, reactor coming through, and away we go.
Of course, skipping the Reaper, you can't get your Reaper surrounded if you don't build it, so that's
great adjustment.
Next level play there. Of course, Maru has really been a big fan of these Marine openings for quite a while now. If you save that 50 gas, you get the factory faster. You can build these Hellions earlier and put on more aggression, or you can just get into a quicker starport if you are indeed going for the faster command center like he is here. Once again, Dark with the scouting. Oh, his Overlord positioning is so good on these maps.
Yeah, man, considering in some of the early interviews, he's like, oh yeah, I've got to go study the maps now. Well, I feel like one of the things he studied is where he should put his Overlords and where to get them very quickly, because he just keeps on nudging in, getting perfect information on the speed of that third base, and that completely frees up his opponents to do as he wishes. Does he feel he can be aggressive? He can do that. If he feels as though now he can just hold down that drone key, get the bases set up, go into that mega eco, and then hit later with a very strong economy opening, he can do that too, and that seems to be his preference at the moment.
I would love to see just Lingbane. You were calling for it, but Lingbane Muto on this map. I think if there's ever a map where you're going to get picked apart by drops playing Roach Hydra into Lurker, this would be it. And as you said, Dark has been doing, I would say, more Lingbane than the Roach style recently. He can always whip that Roach style out, so double Evo again very quickly. He says, hey, it worked last game really well. I don't have to commit to those Ling timings, by the way. He can play the fast upgrades and just be greedier. It's going to be a really good way to do it, the quick double Evo chamber.
Yeah, you just get so much power, man. We're seeing that third CC so early. You don't have to prep for anything. You don't have to put a Baneling Nest down by 4 minutes or anything along those lines. You know you're just safe to do this, as Dark is making a plethora of Overlords right now. 6 on the way at once. He does get a little supply block with the Viking getting a kill. I'm just going to see Maru cruising with these Hellions. Would love to try and deny as much creep as possible. He was really good at the creep denial in that last game. It unfortunately didn't serve him well enough. But it is something which, especially on this map, you want to try and stop, because there's a lot of different avenues to spread creep on this map. The less you have advanced as the Zerg, the easier it is for the Terran to find some kind of opening. Triple Hellion will one-shot. He gets one drone only, and the Ling's now looking for the surround, trying to punish this little aggression from Maru. He gets one Hellion. The other two get behind a mineral line, and that will be it for now.
This Viking being annoying, it's going around the map. It's going to find itself a second Overlord, limiting the vision of Dark, preparing for the next stage of the lair. Always feels quite late, but that's because you're investing all that early gas in the 1-1. It does slow down your baneling speed significantly. The thing is, when you've got your upgrades so quick, you're almost happy to just surround with pretty much pure Zergling against the early waves of aggression. Now, against someone who's playing heavy Ling Bane, opening Widow Mines is going to give you much more fluid aggression, a bigger counter to the Masters of Ling Bane. It's been a long time where Maru's favored the tank play because it's very safe defensively. Didn't help him survive in that last game. I see a lot of reactors being built right now. I think we're going to see him swap back into that Widowmine style.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to be playing here against, like you say, Ling Bane. It will just give you a bit more freedom, and it makes Dark second guess some of these fights. He can't just run in for the wraparound immediately. He has to figure out, where are those mines? Are they burrowed? Do I need to be splitting? Do I need to send a few units forward? And that can just be the extra half second or so you need as Maru to get the pre-split to decide whether you're fighting or not. So, yeah, I love it. Widowmine's definitely going to be the better option here. And for now, we'll see if it's going to work out. He will be again behind on 1-1 as Dark 62 drones making a good amount of Lings. So he's setting up to potentially go across the map. He keeps building those Lings at the moment, man.
And even just using this to shut down the first pressure, right? So you just have an abundance of Lings, you shut this down, it keeps your creep spread going. On a map like Cosmic Sapphire, keeping that creep going, it is just a huge investment. It is so important, but he's setting up for the huge backstab. This is such a good style. The 60 drone, Mass Ling Bane, he's gonna go for the huge backstab.
Oh,
the door's
no!
open! It's open! Maru completely caught with his pants down!
He's going to do nothing against the Queens on the other side. He's into the main base as well with just a few Lings. The SCV massacre is going to be very real. One Widow Mine does connect, but also on the SCVs! Maru is in so much trouble. 26 workers, and Dark is just demolishing him here in game number 2. He's not even used Banelands yet, but now he's got a couple ready to go, as he's going to use these over here to help out against the Marines, and Maru just cannot catch a break. Down 30 workers now in this game.
Oh, this is such a brutal timing. 2 games in a row. There's no way Maru was expecting it. It's a surprise tactic. He does it a second time in a row, catches Maru with even more damage than the previous game. And Maru is going to be just thrown through a loop. This is devastating. Dark going first, just annihilating him. And you know what this throws me back to? Do you remember when Clem was on like a 50-game TVZ win streak? You know who ended it? Dark. And it was with this exact same style. Low drone, always having way more Ling Bane, waits for you to move out across the map, and just a flood of Ling Bane rolls in. It's such a good way to play in a tournament.
It just doesn't let the Terran do what they want as well, right? The Terran's like, I've got to take control, I've got to be on the map, because if not, he's going to get away with greed. But he's not being greedy. So then you go across, you run into Queens, it's like, oh, well, that's not so bad. But then the counterattack hits you.
Yeah.
And if you're not perfect on the defense, and even if you are perfect on the defense, it's hard to deal with. It just takes the initiative or the kind of the normal way of thinking for a Terran player and just kind of ruins it, really.
Puts their attention in the wrong place at the wrong time. And ZVT, right?
No!
Exactly what we're talking about right there. Banelings, just as he's dealing with the fight on the front, rolling into that third, down on 43 SCVs, up against the 74 of Dark. Dark's also got Hydralisks coming out to round out this style. They're going to be great covering such a wide spread on this map. Dealing with the Widow Mines, they also outrange them. Infestation Pit will allow him to tech towards Lurkers as well. Maru, though, he's kept the army supply even, which means, hey, it's not that bad on the army, but he needs to do something with it, and he needs to do something soon. If he can't slow down Dark, Dark's army is just going to get way bigger than his very quickly.
Feelings is going to hit this, wall off, but Banes are here to bust it down as well. Widowmine on the side, at least stops a few of these Banes. He splits against the next one, only one Bane falls, and now we are once again here to fight. These Widowmines go down before they can shoot, and this third base is just once again fully evacuated. We're killing units across the map as well, and Dark is on a hot streak already, 2-0, and boy, is he making it look easy.
All right, note to self, when I get home from this tournament, just literally just write down all of his builds and copy them and do them on the ladder, because He has been killing people so efficiently today, Wardy. Yesterday as well, it feels like there is no room given to his opponents, and every small mistake is being punished with just brutal intentions.
It is brutal, man. I mean, Maru's just out there. He's just trying to get set up, right? He's just trying to get going. He's just doing the normal things, and Dark is working perfectly against it. It's, again, because he gets that Overlord Scout early. He knows exactly what he's doing. Can I get away with double Evo and a bunch of drones? Absolutely I can. He's going to do nothing against me. For Maru now, he has to switch this up. He can't just keep doing this 3cc setup. Something a bit more aggressive, maybe double gas before 3cc. It doesn't even have to be Banshee or something, just something that gets a bit more vision on the map, a bit more pressure.
Yeah.
Because right now, Dark is just hitting him because he's trying to get set up too much.
I mean, he did change to Widow Mines this game, which I like as a small adjustment. And the thing is, he just had no vision out to the left of the natural. So this is the big one run by angle, where the thing is, normally Maru gets away with this because he's like, oh, I'm so quick. I'll spot the links coming in, I'll raise the depot, and I'll have Marines there. For some reason, he didn't have many Marines there. So maybe there was a gap in production. I'm not sure. Maybe he hit a supply block or something like that. Maybe he was a bit slower to react because he's a little tired at the end of a long day. You know, there's all these impacts and effects that stack up here. The point being, though, he's going to need to prepare for it. Leave a Widow Mine burrowed out, covering that path to the natural, so you've got time to respond, right? What he was set up for, he had a fraction of a second to respond. Wasn't able to do it in time. And we see Dark already with a 2-0 lead in a series, which, let's face it, Maru is favored here. He has a much better head-to-head record in Legacy of the Void over his opponent, and you take it to best of 5 and above, and it's way better.
Yeah.
But right now, he's looking down a 0-2 scoreline. He has to rally, he has to get organized, and he's got to fight back here on Moondance. The Terran Beast down here in the bottom right side, the king of GSL, Maru.
But if you're loving that Zerg energy, then let's hear it for this man in the top left, up 2-0 on fire right now in this grand final. It is Dark!
It's points like this in a finals where I do wonder if Maru's realized how quickly he's been scouted by those Overlords. Because remember, Overlords have very long vision, further than most units in the game. He's poked in, seen the third command center, and just walked out completely unmolested both of these first 2 games. Dark has had the information. Maru might not even realize that, even when the game ends. If he's not, rewinding and checking that quickly, there is a chance this information slipping in by, and he's like, wow, Dark's just doing this weird, crazy 1-1 Ling Bust. And it's like, no, he does know that you're not doing a Hellbat attack, that you're not making a battle cruiser or Banshees. So he's skipping Spores. There's no early Baneling Nest or Roach Warren. He's low on Zerglings. He's only playing 6 or 7 Queens as well. There's a lot of corners that are being cut here by Dark.
Absolutely. The only thing I would say that maybe suggests Maru might know is he did get his Viking straight across to the right that game. Gets the Overload there, so maybe could make the assumption it had a peek in. But of course, there's no guarantee that was the first Overload or so, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's a great point. We'll see what Maru chooses to do. I mean, this is, once again, one of the great Terran maps. Hence why it's Maru's map pick for map number 2 on his map picks, right? First he goes Waterfall. We've not really seen much of that. Everyone keeps videoing it. But we have seen Moondance in these best of 5s, and it is one that the Terrans like. They can be aggressive on it. We saw Reyno didn't want to play on this map. He just rode Crush Bunny on this map, right? So it's small, it's aggressive. You get that backwards base early. You don't have a lot of run-by positions to defend early on. You just have your natural. And that's going to limit what Dark can do. And it almost means that Dark has to change it up this game, because if he doesn't, well, how is he going to run by? Maru changing it up as well. Double gas is on the way down.
I can't help but think about, well, what about mech?
Yeah.
But this happens where if Maru thinks his opponent knows how to deal with mech, he will not play it. Or he'll pull it out one game as a surprise tactic and then won't use it again. He did this versus Cyril in the World Championship at Katowice. He won the one game where he played mech into Ghost Mech, and Cyril couldn't deal with it. And everyone was saying, why didn't you play it anymore? And then you played Bio and lost the other games in that series. It was a 1-3. And he was like, no, I'm pretty sure Cyril would have beaten me if I gave him another shot at it. And that's kind of Maru's attitude. And I clearly think he has great respect for how Dark would play against mech. Nonetheless, it's an option. Here being down 0-2, we might pull it out.
Lair quickly from Dark, not wasting any time on that one, so maybe that's a different kind of aggression we are going to see from him. He will have Ling Speed finished, so Lair on their way up, taking some extra gas right now, and just prepping to maybe be aggressive. What a scout from Maru gets into the main, and that's the exact information that he needs.
Now, it could be two-base Muta, it could be a Nidus Worm all in. I think once you're scouted, the Nidus definitely loses power. Mutas does become more of an option. It's going to be an interesting way to mix it up here on Moondance. Ling's getting a great scout off and a runaround. Going to get the Marine as well.
Oh, no. Marine going down. These Lings are going to continue to cause chaos. This is now so much mining time lost for Maru. And these Lings getting perfect information of just what add-ons are or are not building on these structures. So good info from Dark. His last scouted, though, what will he decide to do with that information being known to Maru? He is just going to set down the spy. Yeah, so super quick spy is going to be the choice. Tries to put in a dodgy position to scout. And this Reaper now on the map is going to be found by these Lings. And that's going to shut down the scouting of Maru.
Third and fourth gas going down before third base. So this is like he wants to build a lot of Mutas, does Dark. Really get some momentum rolling with it. It's a nice way to mix things up. On the other hand, if, Maru's got such a quick third command center, I feel like there's a bit of dead space behind the natural. Yeah. There's a lot of area in the main, but there's not too many spaces in between for those Mutas to hide. So I feel like it's an easy call for Maru to turtle up in this scenario. He's building a tank, and that makes me think he's more focused on the Nidus option rather than the Mutalisk option. If Maru just went straight into 3-rack Stim Marines here, he'd be much happier against the Mutalisks.
Yeah, the benefit is at least he's not building Hellions, which aren't useful against the Mutalisks, and he's just cranking out Marines. But yeah, I mean, it feels as though with that third base up, all you got to do is defend, not take too much damage. Dark's investing a lot into these Mutas. If you can just turtle up and defend them, brilliant. Maru, like you say, just not quite fully sure what it is. Gets that tank before the racks and so on. Now the racks come through. It's just going to be that little while until they're truly set up to deal with Mutas properly. Like, you can have a good Marine count, but they're going to be kind of slow moving around. They're going to be a little bit vulnerable. That's where Dark can get a lot done, even with just 6 Mutalisks.
Yeah, 6 Mutalists. I mean, it takes 5 to one-shot SCV, so that is plenty for the main targets. Marines and SCV, same hit points, so both of those will get one-shot. The Hellion really wants to see what's up. Sees a good amount of Zerglings, and I think at this point, you have to assume what you're up against. Mutalisks are flying out. Those missile turrets better start really quick, Wardy.
He's got, extra racks on the way, starting 1-1, but we would love to see a couple missile turrets cover these mineral lines, just make this defense that much easier. He just keeps missing the information he's looking for, hasn't seen the Mutas yet. I just don't think it's a bad assumption to make, so let's see what he can do. These Mutas are about to show up.
Oh, they're going to do so much, Wardy. They're going to do so much damage. There is no missile turrets. There's 1 Viking and 10 Marines with no stim. They fly in the back and they find a bunch of fresh mules and SCVs. So much damage already. 8 SCVs falling.
Yeah, I mean, Maru's face instantly was like, oh, come on, right? Like, he just knew the moment these flew in that this was already going to be bad for him. 10, 11, 12 SCVs going down, a few Marines as well, and we're just getting started, really. These Mutas, they've not really taken any damage. They've still got full life on them. Going to find some SCVs at the front, and once again, Dark is just finding early advantages to play with here. I mean, this is a reckoning right now.
It's devastating damage. I mean, obviously, like, Maru must have just been... thinking they were going to come in 20 seconds later. That's it. It's literally just, it's a missed timing issue on his part, where he was like, yeah, this could be 2-base Muta, but no, I should be okay. I remember he built that tank for safety. He built the Viking to help clear up Overlords. None of this stuff was necessary against the build that Dark was doing. And it feels like Dark is just one step ahead in the mind games. He's gaining momentum in this series. Maru is on a slippery slope right now. He needs to dig in. Like, he's got to plant his feet. He's got to get a low center of gravity, because right now, Dark is dangerously close to just picking him up and slamming him out of this grand finals.
And now Dark's up at 70 drones or thereabouts. Bane's going to be available for him too. The only kind of power of Maru is, he's getting his 1-1 finished up, so maybe if you could find a fight. But that's the problem. How do you find a fight when these Mutas are going to backstab you every step of the way across the map? Dark has found so much damage early, and Maru just shouldn't really be able to get across to make use of the only advantage he has.
Yeah, it's going to be about turtling up in this one for sure, and he's going to have to make that transition towards the later stages. Maru famous for his late game, and I don't think Dark has any special ability to take him down beyond what Raynor showed. What Dark does have is killer instinct in the mid game and not letting him get there. And I think that's why Maru might feel like, hey, I need to just get some counter damage on, so at least I'm the one picking where and when the fights happen. With this much creep spread out, though, it's a dangerous proposition.
Just gonna start pushing through this center of the map. He turns back around to try and protect his siege tank. One meter goes down, but so does one of the tanks. And the less splash damage there is, the tougher this is gonna be. Dark wastes no time at all and jumping on this. The Bane's start to connect, and he is gonna continue to chase for wraparound. Now, those Marines should be okay for now, but without any tanks, moving back on creep is gonna be so dangerous. Next wave of Ling Bane ready to go, and Maru is turning around to run.
Yeah, Maru's got to stop pushing there. This is wild. The fact that he's still building siege tanks as well instead of Widow Mines, it really is crazy. Ling Bane Mute is so good against this army. Maru's trying to overwhelm Dark here. And I mean, Dark's production was low for a little while, but he's got his 4th hatchery up, his 5th hatchery going up in the back as well. Dark's production is off the chain. Yes, right now, you've got that low upgrade situation for Dark, but that's going to change in a few seconds. I think, yes, you want to take advantage of the window. The window is closed. And Dark is going to close his jaws on top of this army.
Here we go. Mutas, Lings, Banes crashing into the army of Maru, and there's just nothing he can do. He tries to run, but every single medevac is left exposed. There's a few Marines that do get to survive this, but look at the damage dealt. The tank's all gone. The medevac count, actually better than I thought it would be. A couple of those survived on low HP, but the problem is Dark is already built into the next wave of this that's going to come crashing on through. 46 Lings, 14 Banes in production, and Maru has no way to stay on this side of the map.
Yeah, he's got to pull back. He's got the Widowmine production on the second factory. 2-2 does start up. The worker advantage is not too bad, and you put a big dent in the creep. This gives you a playable situation as Maru. The problem, of course, is the fact that you've only got Marines. You've got 1 tank, and your first Widow Mine's popping out. So you're in a very fragile situation against Ling Bane Muta. If Dark can start sliding some Zergling run-bys in, that's going to cause you massive problems.
Yeah, Maru's relying so much on this presence in the center to keep himself safe. If you can get across the map, a little run by, that could cause chaos. The Mutas are looking to see what they can catch as this army retreats on home. But Maru is paying attention. His Marines are quick to stim and move towards the Mutas. But now, hey, look, the Mutas are over here. They can jump in the main base and they can find damage once again. Maru will drop into the main, but this is once again now him on the defensive and a chance for Dark to just extend his worker count that little bit. His own 2-2 upgrade starting. Still a bit behind Marius, but not as much of a gap as it was with 1-1. And yeah, Dark just in control still of this game 3.
I like that Dark isn't too eager to drone here. Just 5 more workers, getting closer to 80 workers. But for him, he's like, hey, I haven't seen a 4th base yet. And as long as I have a giant army and I can respread creep through the center, I should be in a good position. So I really like to see that. Only 5 queens out on Dark side of the map. Definitely does need to get a move on with respreading his creep, using this map control up to 15 mutas. With 11 more, he's going to go up to 26 mutalisks.
And more beyond that, he's just added a couple more again. He just believes that the Mutalist count can just overwhelm Maru in this game. He is now maxed out, and if Maru steps foot on creep, he is going to pounce once again to try and pincer in and get something done. For the next few moments, he might be behind a few upgrades. 2-2 will be finishing shortly from Maru, and it's be about 30 seconds or so until Dark's own 2-2 will finish. So a little bit of an upgrade time here for Maru. That's what he is setting up for right now. This big 2-2 attack. There's no 4th base behind this. He's really looking to win the game on the back of these upgrades.
Maru is really feeling very all in right now. He's got a 2-2 timing, and he wants to win the game with this. He's still only on 3 bases, 64 workers. Dark does shave off some Marines on the left side. Very well done. He doesn't want to overcommit. He just wants to bait out the stims, drag it out, and bait by another 30 seconds. His upgrades will be finishing up shortly. But the Evos are exposed.
Yeah. Okay, Carapace upgrade gonna go down. That's one of the more important ones here. So the Carapace denied. The +2 melee might be able to finish. Dark is gonna come in as he is gonna have the Mutas on the flank. Banes are going all over the place. Widow Mine's connected on the Mutalist. If they can just get rid of enough anti-air, he can maybe overwhelm with the Mutas from there on out. For now, Maru stands strong. There are not currently any Banelings ready to go. 13 morphing. He needs these to fight these Marines, but he's gonna lose a base at the very least.
The Mutas, though, they do come in from behind. They clean up a few Widow Mines in a siege tank, and the +2 melee did finish. Dark needs to rebuild those Evo chambers in the back. Ling Bane coming in. The Banelings have morphed. Remember, this is a desperate push, and the Banelings, they're going to get on top of these Marines.
He's going to force the lift up, and now Mutas can try and chase, but he lost so many of the Mutalists. He's only got 5 Mutas remaining. There's 1 super low HP medevac full of units. Can Dark find it? He's continuing forward. It's now unloading. That's the wrong low HP medevac. He's going to get it with a few Marines left in. Dark is still chasing Maru down, but he will have to bust through a wall off if he wants to continue this attack.
There's no 4th base, though, and Dark, he says, I may have lost my 4th, but I've got a 5th, a 6th, a 7th base up. I'm totally fine right now. I can just move my workers over to those. Yes, he needs to restart his upgrades on his +2 carapace. Yes, he needs to respread his creep, but Maru, the moment he was behind in this game, he has felt like he needed to just try and go all in. and that has not worked out for him at all. He's gonna have to lift his main down to the 4th base and try to prolong this, but it's been a 1-1. Super committed attack, didn't quite work. A 2-2 super committed attack, kind of worked, did some damage, but in the end, he does find himself behind a good catch there. That's a very nice pickup.
Yeah, when Maru needs something, that is at least a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, perhaps. His 3-3 is going to be nice, right? Having that available to him. This orbital moving out, extending his lifeline in this game, and Mutas, though, getting a chance to dive into the main, get rid of some reactors, stop some of this production. We're going to drop some Marines in here. It's not too many, but the Muta count is obviously hurting from earlier.
Many Mutalisks have died in this game.
119 lings.
Yeah, that's actually a crazy amount of Zerglings. We've seen almost 30 Mutalisks already go down in this game, so hats off to Maru for his hunting skills. He's actually really been just keeping that number low, and at this point, Dark does not want to rebuild that Dark, though. He's maxed out. I would say the big weakness of Dark in this scenario is his creep spread. He's only got 3 queens, and he's just not re-spreading it in the middle. This game's going to go a little bit longer. Maru's trying to just get one more super maxed out army. Dark's trying to counterattack right now.
Yeah, he is going to get straight into this base right here. Units coming in from the right side, units from the left, but it's mostly just lings. I mean, the attack at the front doesn't do so well, but it's the lings and the mineral lines that are the problem, and the Bane's going after so many SCVs, and here are the Banelings now from Dark. Will it do enough going after this Thor as well? The split back from Maru will be good enough.
3-3. He's got 3-3 kicked in just before that against +1 Carapace. That made such a big difference. Those Banelings were dying way quicker than Dark's used to. He was like, why are they getting gunned down so fast? That attack was an anti-timing. Now his +2 Carapace is going to finish, but Dark is on the ropes. Maru might actually be able to get it done now.
Yeah, Dark getting a little bit too aggressive there, and now Maru coming across the map. Again, +2 Carapace, moments away. We're going to use these Banes down the ramp. We've got one more round of Banelings morphing in, but some of them getting cancelled. Lings counter-attacking again. Maru's economy will be shredded. He is pretty much all in as the Thors delete the Mutalisks.
Oh my lord, they just popped an entire pack of Mutas there. The Widowmines not getting the big booms that they wanted, but the Medivacs with the saves. The Mutas unable to punish it because they all got shot down. The Ling run by on Maru's main base, 4th base, I don't know what you call that. A lot of those SCVs went down. Maru's economy is still so weak, but he's up in army supply. Dark has got a hive on the way, but he doesn't have any actual hive tech coming in. It's still 3-3 versus now 2-2 Ling Bane Muta. It's a way better composition. The medevac count's preserved. Maru is still somehow in this game.
He really is, but time is ticking. I know he's going to trade efficiently, but Dark is over double the work account, and he's got the bases to keep those workers on as well. Trying to set off this Widowmine here as he sends a few Banes forward, softens up Marauders, which isn't exactly ideal for the Banes. Got a couple Corruptors coming out, something a bit sturdier in the sky to keep working through those medevacs during the fight. He sends some units forward again. He's got a massive counter-attack of Banelings. 16 going down, and here comes the main attack now as well. Does he have enough over here? The couple Mutas doing what they can, but it's so many Marines, and Maru is not going to be stopped. Dark will not be able to stop him at all, and it looks like Maru will power through to potentially win Game 3.
A 2-hit point Thor surviving in the midst of that. So much bio, heavily wounded, but not done yet. And we see the power of this army. I mean, was that Baneling run by awesome? Yes, but you're damaging an already super wounded economy. I think Dark needed to give up that base and fall back.
Yeah, give up, fall back, deal with the one big fight. Just get as much up as possible right then and there. He's still trying to deal damage to Maru. He's on 13 SCVs. You don't need to. He just needs to live, but he doesn't have the unit count. Widowmines are stopping Banelings from morphing in. Maru is continuing to push on forward into this natural. Queens are in trouble. The handful of Banelings will not do anything here, and Maru pulls it back to keep this grand finals lively.
Ooh, that was a sick comeback there. 14 SCVs dying to the 2-base Muta. A disastrous start to that game. And you know what? I really was doubting that whole game. I was like, is going just so committed to the all-in counterattack really going to work for you? But you know what? It didn't look like it was winning the game, but it was keeping it close, keeping it scrappy. And man, there's a reason you don't build your Evo chambers out front your base, Wardy. That was a huge punish.
Losing that Carapace upgrade was really, really bad for Dark. It set him into a position where Maru had an opportunity, had an opening, and with that, he is back in this series. We're going to be back in a few moments' time to continue this best of 7.
Welcome back to the grand finals of the DreamHack Masters Valencia. Well, it looked like it might be a super one-sided finals, but just narrowly escaping going down 0-3 there. Maru fights back, finds an exposed evolution chamber, about to complete a +2 upgrade. There it is on the screen, denies it. And even then, I still don't think he was in a great position, but, you know, Dark, he tried to go for that big counterattack just as +3 attack also finished for Maru, and that was devastating. I mean, I very rarely see Marines pop banelings that quickly.
Yeah. Those upgrades were definitely the telling kind of come back in that game for Maru. I mean, this one looked terrible as well. This was the beginning of the end for Maru's economy. But then
great SAV pull as well, that reaction, man.
Oh, yeah. He just, I mean, this attack I feel like was the one that was not needed. You've done huge damage to your economy. Get home, go back on creep, wait for your +2 carapace. He just wasn't, like you say, expecting Maru to be able to shoot down those Banes so quickly. And obviously in this fight, all the mutas are dying. You can't really punish following up from that. Maru gets himself back in this series, and honestly, 1-2 feels so different from 0-3, obviously. I mean, you cannot help but feel that this is Maru at least giving himself a chance. And even more important, that was his map pick as well. So if he'd lost that, then you're back on to a Dark map pick for map number 4 and down 0-3. The comeback's even more difficult. And of course, as the series progresses, these maps are less and less kind of like, oh yeah, I really want to play on this map as like this race. And, you know, more kind of like, oh, well, these maps are kind of middle of the road.
Yeah, it's going to be like, all right, this, you know, it's definitely not the first picks as we go later on, but next up is going to be a map which most pro gamers have said they really enjoy. It is, of course, Data C. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play it out, because you can turtle up very hard on 4 bases on this map. And we could see, of course, the players there. Maybe a bit of a shift in the momentum. This player looking a little bit more calm after the last game. His opponent, the one who's a bit more tilted looking. Up here in the top right side of the map, the Terran player beginning his comeback train, repping Onside Gaming. This is Maru.
In the bottom left, it looked like he had this one almost on the way to being wrapped up, but now it's a whole different story. From Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Dark.
Very annoyed with himself there. You could see him talking to himself just before this game started, because he knew getting that much damage done with the Mutalisks, having that much control over the map, should have been his game. He knows that, but it's good, because now we, as the fans of these players, get to see them tested a little bit further. I feel like Dark has steamrolled through his opponents in too many games in this tournament. He's had too many times where his build order choice and just his early execution just, bam, gets him this big lead. I like seeing extra games and how he's going to play the series out in the long term. I'm still crossing my fingers that one of these games, Maru pulls out mech. I want to see how Dark deals with it and how that varies from what Raynor did earlier today.
This could very well be one of those maps. It's large, it's great, and even if this one isn't mech from the start, it could just be, right, the idea of playing into that late game mech, right? You know, you open bio, you play a long game, you draw it out, and eventually you're playing Thor Hellback Ghost. That's where Maru likes to go to, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see what Maru can get done. See how he opts to play this, because again, last game he did go into that double gas. Is he going to go back to triple CC now? Is he going to continue with double gas builds? And what is Dark going to really do to swap it up? Like, big change up last game for mutas. Don't expect to see 2 base muta a second time in a row. But are we going to go back to the Evos? Or are we maybe going to see Dark saying, hey, you know what? I kind of like my roaches, big map, but, you know, maybe you least expect it then.
Yeah, absolutely. The 4 Zerglings and the Queen are on the way out. Love the aesthetic on this map. Those fish swimming around. We've got hermit crabs as well running around. Spider crabs, I guess. That one, very afraid of that Reaper.
He's giving him a race. He's like, go, Reaper, go. I'm your biggest fan. You got this.
SCV going up there. Back to the base. See if you can grab a nice drone snipe. So far, Dark's micro pretty good. Pulling back the weak Zerglings. Just shooing that away. The Queen will be out momentarily.
Yeah, just get that up and defend, as we do not lose a lane good micro back on the units from Dark. Maru getting as much done as possible, but no kill available. And once again, triple CC is already built, and guess who's just poked in to scout it? That's right, Dark's Overlord has just gone in, seen the 3rd CC, once again has that info. So do we just repeat that Evo Chamber style and hitting those timings, Pig?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely might see it again. There are some build orders that could maybe punish it. I'm thinking of Game 5 Sterile Hero Marine from the EU regionals. You know, weird 3cc Hellbat timing attacks there are some weird things you could do to try and punish this if you expect the Evo Chambers coming out, and definitely some variations that abound. We'll find out in a little bit which direction both players are going. Starport is on the way. Queen's deflecting the Reapers very effectively so far.
Yeah, that Reaper gets pushed back through into the center of the map, going to come around the bottom side. There's a couple Hellions popping out. Starport going to begin to build a Viking, and we see extra gas coming down.
Oh, yeah, that's a third gas geyser, right?
Yes,
that means we're going to see a fusion core. We're going to see battlecruiser. Oh. I mean, Mac did go, so we would say we want to see it. There we go. That's the fusion core SCV. They're right there. There we go. Waits until the Vikings are almost ready as well. That's the way this times out with this build order. So that way, there's no way the Overlord can scout it. Obviously, you're waiting for that gas to come in as well. Dark, though, he has not gone double Evo Chamber just yet. It dropped right about now in the previous games. I think we might see a lair start up in just a second.
And if he does that, that sets him up really nicely against this, right? Because then he has the option to go Aspire as soon as he needs to. Oh, that Ling did spot that gas, because as this Overlord scouts in, this will get denied. But yeah, does he realize the third gas timing? Does he know what this is going to be? No, he does not just yet. Yeah, no, he
didn't actually see that yet. So double Evo Chamber going down, and that's not great versus mech, because really the priority is getting up your third, your fourth, your fifth. Like, just saturate those bases, protect your workers from the harassment, get up the units. Upgrades are nice, especially attack upgrades versus mech, but it's nowhere near as vital as it is when you've got Zerglings or Roaches up against Marines.
Yep, no, it's meant to be like, get your Roaches, get your anti-battle cruiser with the Spire in play, and then, you know, get your saturation, and then you work on everything else. Melee upgrades are something which you don't even love to see, because you don't really want to be playing Lings initially either, right? You want to probably be playing those Roaches. So Dark just in the dark, and Maru is going to be able to catch him maybe off guard with this. There's the extra factories. We knew it was going to be mech. The fourth gas came down as well, so we knew this was going to happen, and here we go with it. And Dark just playing the same way he's played games 1 and 2 for the moment, but we'll need to find a way to adjust.
Second and third factory are now on the way behind this. Usually we see double armory right after that, so definitely tank Hellion and battlecruiser focus is usually what Maru likes to do here, and he likes to repeat this build over and over when he's confident with it, when he likes the map for it. The Hellions are still picking off creep tumors on the right side. Plenty of Zerglings coming out, which is going to help defend the Hellions. Very important there. But 8 Queens. Here we go. BC on the front. Wow. Okay.
Hey.
Gonna just dive in there. That's plenty of Queens. I don't think this is a good teleport for Maru.
No, it's not going to kind of pull anything apart at all. And yeah, everything is just here to defend it. So Maru will not find much at all with this first attack in. Now, obviously, Dark knows what he's playing against exactly, and he's just going to be adding on some extra Lings. Make sure you can deal with this as Maru takes down a good amount of creep spread, to be fair. Just trying to limit that movement and mobility, force some energy off those Queens to replace those creep tumors, and now the Rotoron comes down as he begins to adjust to the new knowledge he has gained.
Rotoron's on the way. I expect the Spire to be down shortly, but there's no second battlecruiser on the way, so this is interesting. Looks like Maru is going for tanks. He's going for armories, third base gases, but it seems like it's just a single battlecruiser into pure ground mech. And yet somehow Dark seems to realize this, because he's not even building a Spire.
No, he is not. It's just going to be seeing the few Hellions getting some more kills, clean up these Lings. He's a bit of a counterattack, but Maru's Hellions are in position. These Lings will be dealt with. What do you think he's noticed, Pig, to go Infestation Pit, no Spire?
I mean, he definitely can go Neural Parasite to deal with battlecruisers, right? You can just neural them, teleport them into your Queens and Spores and get them killed that way. You can also get a quick Hive up for Vipers and the like. You can go Lurkers there with that Hive. These are all options that are available. To not even have the Spire, odd. But yeah, there's only one BC out. A second one is on the way. No Yamato just yet. 1-1 upgrades are on the way, as well as the engineering bay. Quick fourth base Maru. He's going to want to go for this huge macro game. And it's actually Knight as Swarm Host. Wow, I was not expecting this.
Okay, so Dark is just going to say, you know what, Reno maybe had the right idea early. Those Swarm Hosts against mech. We'll see if he can make them work a little bit better. 7, 8 of them on the way up right now. There is the Yamato Cannon upgrade, so we are going to be seeing those BCs continue to build. We do see the Blue Flame on the way up. That's more or less going to time out for the first wave of the Locust to not be against Blue Flame, but the second wave onwards should be against Blue Flame. That will help Maru clean that up.
Yeah, we'll see when he pulls the trigger. He might wait for even more Swarm Hosts, just to have a super deadly first wave. Remember that, no, there we go. Once it's revealed, the battle cruisers can start cleaning these up. there's no Corruptors to cover it, right? So
Yeah.
it's very much surprise. Pop out, throw them, and then get back in the Nidus and get out of there before those battle cruisers deal with it. The Scan finds it. This is very dangerous. He's popping out and trying to defend this area with the Queens, putting down some creep tumors as well. Very nice way to spread that creep. Locusts are coming out towards this 4th base. He's gonna have to micro those, make sure they don't land on the Hellbats, and aim for the siege tanks or the command center.
Yeah, he is just going to land towards the CC, but then they turn to fight the Hellbats, so not really much gained here at all with the first wave of Locusts. And Maru is instantly saying, oh yeah, you know what, I kind of fancy going forward and trying to shut down this Nidus, stop this position. Everything does get back in at least. Nidus will go down, and now the BCs decide to teleport over here where the next Nidus has been found already. So Maru teleports in, is going to take this down, and that's that Nidus denied for the moment, and Dark will not have the attack into the main.
He knows it's a momentum game. This is it. Maru says, look, if I can just shut down 1 or 2 waves, slow down, those Swarm hosts aren't getting value. I'm getting closer to maxed out. It feels like already the Swarm hosts are failing to find the damage that they need. Aspire is on the way behind this. Dark desperately trying to find a way in. Magfield's now on the way. Maru, realizing he's dealing with Swarm hosts, needs more mobility, so he wants the Cyclone Hellion plus the battle cruisers to deal with that.
Yep, these few Ravagers try and push the Hellions back, but the Hellions have been doing great. We just need to deal with the Locusts on the right side here. The Hellbats are a little bit out of position, so tanks maybe have an opportunity, but, well, honestly, still only 1 tank going down. There's a few more Locusts, so a 2nd tank falls. Still not brilliant though, right? I mean, just feels like it could be so much more, especially when there's no Hellbats there.
I would actually really like it to see Dark split up the Swarm host a little bit. I know that's like really hard on the multitasking, but if you can start throwing them into, you know, different areas, that can definitely find effectiveness. And what Raynor found some real success with is rolling Banelings in at the same time. If you can blow those Hellbats up, you know, take a few shots on some Roaches and Lings, and then the Locusts land on the tanks, you can get a beautiful combo out. It's hard to actually sync up the right way, but the moment the Hellbats are gone, Locusts just reign supreme.
Well, there's that Baneling speed coming up in 23 Banes, so maybe not for this wave, but for the waves after. He is target firing tanks with those Locusts, and he gets a couple of them. Friendly fire helping Dark out there, as on the bottom side, the BCs have found 1 building hatchery, and they're going to move across for another. Again, we don't have those Corruptors out right to deal with this, so it's just Queens chasing battlecruisers down, and of course we do just have a teleport away at a moment's notice if you need to get those BCs out of there. For now, they just sit here and get a gas geyser right. Just little things that are going to add up in Maru's favor. And he's going to continue through to the main, and this is just damage that Dark is not dealing well with. I
mean, Queen's just not great for dealing with it. He doesn't have any supply free is the problem. If they kill some drones, you can replace them with Corruptors, but right now, Maru, this is the battlecruiser tax that you have to pay. If you don't have Neural Parasite and Burrow to deal with those, they have to pay that tax. Locust still being microed in surprisingly well considering he's busy at home. And look at that, Banelings will bust the planetary. Nice move for Dark. Can he get the SCVs?
Oh, he's gonna get a few of them. 13 go down. Man, that other CC was moments away from finishing and maybe could have just lifted and gotten out of trouble. Now Maru will not have as easy a cleanup over it. Replacement file into the BCs, and Maru getting a little bit over eager with the move forward there with the teleport on top of that army.
Unimpressed Maru there. You can see a bit of a twist of the lips. Not happy about losing those battle cruisers. They are meant to give him super long-term efficiency. He's going into Ghost though. He's got his upgrades on the way on the engineering phase. Vehicle plating is leveling up behind this. More and more command centers. Locusts are getting little bits of damage, but as long as it's just little bits, he's able to hang on.
Yeah, I mean, just little bits does not do enough, as maybe we can get rid of that engineering bay. It does 1 armor. For the Ghost, going to be denied. Maybe not the most impactful upgrade, but hey, he wanted it, and he doesn't get it. Now he's just going to knock down a depot or 2, and Dark doing anything he can just to find some moments. We're just going to drop the Yamatos here, get done what we can. Those battlecruisers, though, got to be careful, eating some vials, and now the Corruptors are showing up. As we do have a sniper 2 ready to go down, though.
There's something comical about watching like 20 Ravager biles just get sprayed at the BCs, and they're like, yeah, okay, we'll turn around, we'll respect that. Let's be real, they're probably running away from the Corruptors. But Ultra Cabin, Greatest Fire on the way. The Locust will not stop. Dark is just an endless onslaught of Locust. His micro is so good, he's always finding tank kills with every single wave.
Yep, I mean, that's definitely one of the big things here so far in this game. 7 tanks have gone down, and it's just making it so that Maru has to replace those extra gas-based things. Resources lost, though, dead even. Those BCs have been finding value with the Yamatos.
It was funny in that series versus Raynor. I mean, some of those BCs were dying with 70, 80 kills. Like, it was crazy the amount of damage they can rack up. But remember, one of these BCs has already gone down in this game, And these BCs, they always have to wait for teleport to be ready, repair up, go do a run by, you know, or a drive by or a fly by, whatever you want to call it, get some damage done, and then move on to the next wave. The Locusts are going to come on in, landing on a bunch of these siege tanks, spreading across them, and that's the real trick. If you land right on the tank, you drag friendly fire, you're also spreading out so the Hellbats aren't getting them, and you're noticing Maru, he has to actively spread the Hellbats backwards through the tanks to try and counter that move. But it's a bit of a struggle. As his ghost count gets really high and he gets 3-3 on them, you just kill the Locusts before they even land. But the Engineering Bay died. He doesn't have many ghosts out. Right now, he is still struggling, and he's going to lose another battle cruiser.
Yep, that BC never getting repaired before making its journey across the map, so we're down to 2 BCs. Just nowhere near as scary. Halved in count this game to what it should have been. And Maru just going to have that little bit extra struggle now to get out of the 4-base setup and onto 5. And Dark is just overwhelming with his army at the moment. He comes down again. Tanks are in trouble immediately. This time, didn't quite get that one which he landed on, but the Banes are showing up as well. And the 4th base is once again going to be denied. And he's still got Banes moving forward. The tanks at least protect, but he gets SCVs right at the end. 18 die. Maru's economy is not being allowed to settle.
No, and this 4th base is the most important part. I mean, Maru always has extra SCVs, so he can handle some losses here and there. But right now, his gas count's really low. He desperately needs this gas. Look at that. Bile's taking down Medivacs and Hellbats all over the shop. Maru is not being as efficient as he'd like. And Dark here showing a repeat of exactly what Raynor was doing, but it feels like Maru's defense just isn't quite as clean. He's bleeding out battle cruisers. The Locusts are finding their way in, shooting into the 3rd, shooting into the 4th. And Maru, he needs to get something up to deal with this. He's trying to restart his Engineering Bay upgrades. That is, of course, the +1 bio armor. His ghosts, I feel, are unable to punish at all. And this creep, it's right into his base.
Yeah, I mean, Dark just has creep all the way up the ramp. The entire map is purple. And Dark does eat a couple of Yamadas, but that means it's the only Yamada damage that'll be done for the next minute or so. More Banelings morphing in. +3 attack upgrades about to be done from Dark as well, so he's going to be dealing extra damage here with some of these units. It just feels as though Dark is unrelenting right now, but Maru does have that way somehow, some way of surviving when he shouldn't. But I mean, it's still so difficult when he can't keep manning the gases on the 4th base.
Oh, okay. Locusts, in the mineral line, killing a lot of SCVs down there to the bottom right. That's it. Even just hold positioning some Locusts in a mineral line can really stack up. Dark on 71 at work as he's got the entire map covered. The only thing I can criticize Dark for is the fact that he hasn't taken any of the forward bases. He's had Maru pinned back, and he could be mining out his side of the map, but Dark is focused on killing, crushing, and destroying, and he is finding massive amounts of damage.
Oh, he is not holding back, is he? He gets in there with another round of Banes, immediately rebuilding the Lings to get those Banes going again. The Swarmhoos are going to go into the main this time. There shouldn't be any defense in that main, so that's some production structures that will probably go down. Drop a few into the mineral line as well, and yeah, we're going to get SCVs. We're going to work our way through some factories, and these Swarmhoos are just being so annoying this game. He's finding so much out of it. We're pushing in over here. The Bane's actually a little clumped up, and the tank's doing some good damage. Yamatos do go down. Maru trying to push this back, and he will get some snipes as well with those ghosts.
Finally, those ghosts get a little bit of value, but this creep is still there knocking on the door. A Nidusworm tries to go up inside the main. SCV's trying to repair. Maru needs to hang on and staunch the flow of Zerk. He's got to push this creep back, but there's bloody spore crawlers in the middle of the map, Wardy. What the heck?
I mean, what do you do? I guess you come forward and you snipe a bunch of Swarmhosts. An aggressive play from Maru with those ghosts. Get some value out of them again. And that's what he's been missing. Those ghosts have been very inactive in the game so far. They've not had the chances. I mean, these Locusts still coming forward, though. SCV's going down once more. That orbital command is going to be burning as well. We've got a CC nearby to replace it, but again, it's a constant struggle to keep these bases up, never mind thinking of new ones.
And remember, these ghosts, they've only got +1 armor. There are 12 of them and more building, but it doesn't feel like they're the answer to anything at this moment in time. Definitely the snipes were good value, but he's got to keep veering out here with the battle cruisers, with these units. He's got to push him back. Right now, there's 2 battle cruisers on the map. There's only 3 queens and spores. There's nothing else that shoots up, and yet he's not being active with them. Maru is getting pinned back in a corner, and it doesn't feel like he doesn't have the tools. He's simply not using them as well. Dark has taken such an aggressive stance that he's managing to just put Maru in a corner and forcing mistakes out.
Here come the Locusts going different directions again, splitting up that friendly fire a little bit wherever possible. Just going to be seeing Dark still with the map covered in creep. I'm with you, man. You mentioned the forward bases. Yeah, just get some of those up that Maru's not seen outside of his forward base for so long. Just take advantage of that. Corrosive Path's going to land on that BC. It will not be taken down, but it is going to be hurt. As Maru gets rid of this Nidus, and he is desperate to take this 5th base along the top.
These BCs need to keep moving out, and I'd like to see Maru rebuild them as well. I think the battlecruisers make it so hard for the Zerg to choose what to do with their supply, but they just aren't being used, and the Ghosts definitely starting to find some value. Maru is somehow getting a 5th base landed up here, but here we go, more Locust Waves coming in. Hellbats do clear up most of those, but Baneling Roach on the south.
Yep, coming straight on through. Once again, this base forced to be lifted.
Ooh.
These couple tanks likely to go down. We're chasing the Ghosts. Can we reach them? No, not really, but we've done a lot anyway. A lot of tanks going down. This Orbital and its SCVs are stopped from mining yet again. Maru, at the very least, is getting the 12 o'clock base up. A new location to mine from. Not that he has that many SCVs to put there, though.
Yeah, his economy's been severely wounded. He needs to just push out. He needs to get Dark across from him back to his own base. He can't have Dark just knocking on the door, throwing those Locusts into his base for free like this. It's way too much damage that he's taking. Yet this army, this does not inspire fear and confidence, Wardy. It's a pack of Ghosts, a lot of Hellbats, only a few tanks and battlecruisers. That being said, what does Dark have? Mass Baneling. Mass Baneling counters all of those Hellbats and Ghosts just fine.
Yeah, and this is all going to happen on creep, remember, so these Banes are going to be speedy as they start to move on through. The tanks will have to do some defending here. Banes from the other side as well. The Ghosts are being connected into, as we do have a little bit of Roach Ravager left. The BC sitting overhead. Dark does not have much money to rebuild with. He is a little bit ahead on army supply, but these Ghosts are still finding value. The Lings will not do very well, and these battle cruisers just keep sitting here.
Oh my lord. Dark did not actually, he's got the Swarm Host, which can try to break out with the Roaches and the Lings and the Banes coming out. There's still nothing that shoots up though, except a few Queens. Finally, Dark is going to build some Corruptors. The Battlecruiser is definitely a big nuisance. Remember that Maru's economy, it is so small right now. The Locusts are going to force Maru back at least temporarily, but they will expire. And the Battlecruiser is going to take out one of Dark's bases. Dark, he's got a bit of damage that's being taken. He's got to chase the army down. These Corruptors could not arrive soon enough.
I know, he really needs to get rid of these BCs. Maru is retreating home with everything else. He had an army supply lead there for just a moment, but just no way to justify sticking around, apparently. The Swarm Host is going to be attacked now as well as these BCs continuing around. The Corruptors really need to push these back. These things have gone uncontrolled. He needs to shut them down. If he doesn't, well, he's just going to continue to be in trouble. But that's what the Corruptors are for. If we turn around, we try and fight them, but there's enough on the way. Man, Dark is being pushed to his limits despite feeling as though he's been controlling this game.
Yeah, I mean, the unit's loss tab was actually ahead for him for a long time, but now being forced to just kind of throw Banelings into this army to try and hold it, you can see that he is a little bit behind there. Locusts are still finding bits of damage. It's only 50 workers. Missed hold position there. Did need to be used by Dark to make sure they focused the workers down. He's adding more Swarm Hosts, funnily enough. So he's down to 11. He says, nope, I need that 16 Swarm Host count. That's what gives me the value. Just the repeated Locust waves wearing my opponent down. We've also got Corruptors out now, so finally the Battlecruiser's kind of achieving their job. That's 18 supply that should have been committed to Corruptors the entire time, but it wasn't, and that's why Dark had such an overwhelming number of units in each attack.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helped not having to, basically pay the Battlecruiser attacks with your Corruptors. You're going to see these Locusts coming through, but the Ghosts are here to help get rid of them early, but we're going to see maybe a bit of friendly fire. Oh, the Hellbats just delete those Locusts, and they don't do much at all. As Maru trying to once again stabilize on this right side, try and mine a bit of the gas over here. He does have that upper base coming online though, so that is something, and maybe this is where Dark kind of struggles for the fact that, hey, his worker count all this time has been 70. He's maybe not mined out as much of this map as he might have expected him to, considering he's had the entire map this whole time.
And that's what we were talking about earlier, having the whole map like that. If your opponent's just mega turtled up, you can take those forward bases and mine them out. Banelings do get a few hits, but overall, the tanks shut that down. Not a good wave for Dark. A great hold for Maru. Maru is not too far behind in supply. His economy doesn't look great, but a good cancel on the command center, a very quick pull, and a spread. Only 2 Hellbats there going down. Not a big loss.
Nope. Minerals for gas. Good trade once again as the Locusts are trying to move forward, dropping down here. A couple of SCVs begin to fall, looking for a depot, looking for SCVs, anything with those Locusts. We do see Maru starting to venture forward once again. Dark's ready to run forward, but those Banelings get shut down without the Banes. It does feel like this army's just going to go snipe heavy and kill off everything. The Corruptors on the wrong side of the map at the moment. A couple BCs will be here to help, and let's see what happens in this fight as we start to spread it out right now. Just going to be seeing these snipes continuing through and doing as much as possible. This base is going to fall on the left.
This is huge damage right now, Maru. I mean, it's such a scrappy force. A pack of Ghosts with +1 armor, 2 Battlecruisers, a handful of Hellbats. and yet it's finding the damage. Dark's got to be careful. He keeps, like you said, running Zerglings into +3 Blue Flame Hellbats, and they are getting one shot. I think Dark needs to keep working the natural attack angle with the big run bys. Get the Ling Roach to attack the natural. Maru's kind of spread out in this top left defending this command center. And look at that, even picking up tanks to keep them alive. Fantastic play. Maru's micro really shining as 21 siege tanks have gone down in total this game. Not nearly as many as you'd expect with how many Locust Waves have targeted them.
No, I mean, genuinely surprising considering we've been seeing endless amount of Locusts doing so well throughout. Maru is hanging on in there. 43 SCVs only, but it's only 69 drones of Dark, and the army supplies are similar. Some Bane's going to look to shut that worker count down even further, stop all these mules from mining here. Maru is once again instant on the response. He's even going to teleport the BCs in to help, but actually might be useful because these few Lings again is surrounded on the few tanks over there. These BCs are going to have work to do at first. I thought they were necessary. However, now the Corruptors are going to find them with teleport pulled down, and the Banes keep moving through as Dark looks for some serious damage. He's finding SCVs are returning home too soon.
And the BCs are gone. Snipe on the punish though. A whole pack of Corruptors do get sniped down. It does feel to me like Dark came out on top of that though, because remember, he's still got the Swarm Host. So the smaller he gets these armies, as long as he's got the Swarm Host left over, it just makes it harder and harder for Maru to have all the pieces to defend the next Locust Wave. And Dark can keep rotating. He can keep hitting the low ground third, the main base, and then rotate back up to the top left side of the map and hit that newest expansion. As long as Dark keeps on using his mobility, which, hey, there you go, small Zergling run bys darting in. I mean, it feels like Maru is the only person in the world who could have made it past the 15-minute mark in this game. But here at the 25-minute mark, it looks like Dark is finally closing in on the victory.
Here we go with these Locusts looking to punish right now as Maru doesn't have many Hellbats here. The tanks at least on siege, not much friendly fire. The top side of the map, though, is being decimated. The worker count falling even lower for Maru. Gonna go below 20. Jumps isn't good. Never mind, he's gonna have any workers left. 3 workers remain as the Balings find the money shot. And Maru's on a march down the bottom right, but I think it's too late. Not enough army supply here. He's going to snipe up at the top and away at these Corruptors, but his bases are lost. The workers are gone, and Maru has nigh on nothing. Dark needs to clean up one more army, and this game is his, and he'll be on match and tournament point.
This is such good play from Dark, showing us how to pick apart the mech and wear it down. The Swarmhost, Nidus, the Queens, the Ravagers, the Lings, and the Banes constantly going in, and the Locust micro has just been so on point. The way he was splitting those Locusts up all through the early stages, trying to avoid the Hellbats. Even Fungal coming in there to add insult to injury at Dark. He will not be stopped in this grand finals.
He will absolutely not be. It's just going to be seeing Swarmhost back through the center. And there it is. GG. Maru taps out. Dark takes it down on Data C. And he is one map away from being the champ.
Wow. Mixing up the styles was Maru there, bringing back that mech play. But he found himself on the back foot. And I got to say, it's chaotic. It's difficult to defend in that scenario when those Locust Waves are just launching into your base nonstop. Dark created as many problems for him as he possibly could, and the waves were just constantly maneuvering from the south, the north, the east, and the west. He was always changing attack angles, and just a few small mistakes from Maru is all it takes. Like, we realized at a certain point, like, hey, wait a second, all the Queens died, there's no anti-air, the Corruptors died, but Maru didn't realize for a while he'd already lost a few BCs, and I think Dark was so good at taking advantage of that, and he kept the pressure so high, it took Maru like 5 minutes to realize that he could take advantage of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, the pressure was insane throughout this game. You see these Banelings moving on through, just getting rid of SCBs throughout. I mean, Maru, he kept a good economy for a while, but it's one thing to have the workers, but he barely got a chance to mine with them at points because Dark was just on top of those bases, forcing them back. You're not going to be seeing Maru having to find something special here, down 1-3. I mean, you can just see it again, wave after wave. It's crazy that Maru actually survived in this game for another 7 minutes, right? And it was that one moment he was attacking across the map, and it was like, oh my goodness, Dark is in like some trouble.
He was out of bank and what, 140 supply after spending his bank. It was a very scary moment, wasn't it? Surprising moment, but definitely one where we realized that, like, hey, Locusts, when that's a lot of your supply is just in swarm hosts and drones, it is hard to defend those pushes and pick when those armies happen as the SCVs. Oh my lord, being forced to relive that one over and over. Terran children, avert your eyes. But dude, Dark has shown he knows how to adapt to all different scenarios. We've still got a lot of passionate fans here in the venue, despite it nearing on 11 p.m. in the evening, because we are seeing two of the best players in the world duke it out. And yes, he might be on the ropes, but I don't think our Terran player is ready to throw in the towel yet. I think we've got at least a couple more games in us.
Oh no, he is gonna go all the way if he has to. Let's find out if he can. We're going to start it off in the top right side. If you want to see more StarCraft than that, you need to be cheering him on right now from Onsite Gaming. This is Maru.
His opponent in the bottom left side of the map, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. One game away from being the Valencia champion. It's Dark.
Maru does have that way of being behind and getting back into it. We go into Inside Out. This one's a shorter map yet again. Let's see if Maru can take advantage of that. Dark has been good at putting on pressure, getting stuff done, making sure that he has been able to shut down some of these shorter maps from being as much of a problem. We'll see if he can get it done here in game number 5 once again. I think a lot of the questions really depend on what is Maru going to open. We've seen so much 3CC. Are we going to once again see a double gas? I feel like it might be time to, just in case Dark tries to get a bit cheeky and tries to pick up a quick win with some roaches.
Definitely could be something to mix in here. 3CC repeatedly coming out can be potentially abused. Dark, the master of many of those roach pushes and finding ways to do it. Marine first opening. So Maru, he's going to be playing very blind this time. He says, look, I'm down. I got to take a greedy opening here. Skip the scout, get the really fast command center, and go straight for that nice fast factory.
Yep. It's going to be getting all of that up and running nice and quickly. Get that factory and that tech underway so you can start applying some pressure, perhaps get those Hellions out, get on the map, and start shutting down that Crypt spread. Or looking for run-by potential, of course.
Yeah.
He's been pretty conservative with the Hellions for the most part. There was one moment he dove, got one drone, backed away. That's been about it.
Yeah, he's definitely respected Dark's defense, assuming there's always extra Zerglings, and I believe there always has been, so it would definitely be hard to find that damage in there. Looks like a nice quick third base at the front is on the cards here for Dark. 28 third hatchery. It's a clean opening. And the second gas goes down, so no third command center super early for Maru. I think when you go for this super quick factory, that is a good way to play it. Could be Banshees, could be Liberators. Lots of different techs available. 100 gas ticks over. Starport goes down immediately. 2 Marines, 1 Hellion. And, I mean, there is the Marine drop 3 Hellion run by into BC, right? That is one very nice way of playing Battlecruiser. And since you're known for BC mech, you could do that and then even do a big 2-base firewall in behind it. Good way to take advantage of such a small map.
So much potential here. We'll see how it plays. We're going to start up some Widow Mines, though, from the factory as we follow on. Just 1 Hellion, run across them out, get some info, and then I guess we're going to set up for a Widow Mine drop here from Maru. That's how he's going to try and get some damage done early, get some pressure going for himself. You see Dark droning, adding ling speed, and of course, trying to figure out what's going on. He had that Overlord poking in, getting a little scout out, second gas. I think he got a catch on the fact that there was indeed going to be already that starport and stuff down. No, he actually didn't see the structures. He was moments away from it. So, saw the second gas though, and I think that's good info to start. As you are going to be seeing, the units from Maru actually moved out, but not going to find too much already backing away.
The Roach Horn comes down. 2 more gases as well for Dark. So super quick 3 gases and a Roach Horn. If he wants to go crazy on the Ravages, he's definitely going to have the gas income to do so.
Yeah, but as Maru gets aggressive, these Roaches, if they can shut this down and get back across the map, there is a lot of potential for Dark to do game-ending damage. Let's see what he wants to go for. His gas bank is building up. He's going to be able to afford 5-6 Roaches here initially. Obviously, those extra gases finishing, though, that number will rise meteorically now that he's got extra gas available. 5 Roaches for now. Drops heading into the main base. And Maru behind this is even going to add in a Raven with his Hellions moving through the center. 1 Ling going to spot those.
Oh, the drop in the main does come on in. Widow Mine starting. The Marines there as well. The Widow Mine with a quick unburrow there, though. Not wanting to accidentally fire on a single drone. The Marines do take a fair bit of damage, or at least the medevac does. They have to evacuate for now. Hellions on the front looking for a potential drive-by. But they run into these Roaches. Luckily for Maru, a Banshee is already in production. He starts a bunker at home. He's already got a third command center building up in the high ground, so that's a very safe position. And Dark goes back to droning. He feels he's been spotted too early. He knows this Banshee's on the way, so he's just going to do a light pressure here.
Oh, the Hellions, they went off to the right-hand side. They nearly get caught because of it, as Dark will get up here. Might be able to stop that bunker coming up. Nope, he's going to be blocked by the Hellions. Now the Marines dropping down, and he is going to just shut this down, Maru, as these roaches get pushed away with ease. Good spot on this, gets back home in time to deal with it, and the Banshee out to punish all of these roaches. They will all go down.
Oh, that's a huge problem for Dark right now. This is a fantastic hold for Maru. Not only is it a hold, but it opens up his own ability to go across the map. He could do a Hellion drop, a Marine drop, send the Banshees over. Lots of different things he can do. Dark, he's only up 7 workers, he's got no tech, and he's being forced to rebuild roaches just to defend this.
Yes, he will. I mean, having to rebuild extra roaches is just painful, right? You've already built a few. Generally, you want to get at least a few of those out, keep them up for your defense. And it's just going to slow every other part of this down for himself. It's just going to have Maru going full on into bio, extra racks, engineering base, setting up the aggression as we get rid of some creep spread here in the center, and these Marines on the map with the Banshee to support some extra damage on these roaches as we just sit here and fight. We got Stim as well. Overlord goes down, but a new one finished up to avoid the supply block for at least a moment. Now we're back in it.
Lair is almost finished here for Dark. He's getting up towards 60 workers. Maru on about 50, but he's got 1-1 going up to his 5 barracks, going up to the factory, the starport, the beautiful 3-base setup. It feels to me like Maru's got all the infrastructure for a standard game. You might look at his supply and say, hey, you're a little down on supply, a little down on worker count. Oof, watch that explode once all these reactors kick in. 2 minutes from now, I do expect Maru to be roughly even on supply. And that, against a guy who's massing roaches, that is not good for Dark.
No, it really is not. Maru's start of this game has been spot on. And that's what it needed to be, of course, down 1-3. Any map loss now ends this tournament in favor of Dark. Let's just have that Banshee getting in, snagging the drone, and these Marines are still aggressive on the map, looking for a cancel on the 4th base, slow Dark down even further in a game that he's already feeling the pain in.
Very nice there. The Stim just adds so much damage, but does overstay, loses the medevac. The Marines will have to run home. Infestation Pit coming up very early for Dark. Now, will he squeeze a few? Oh, wow, he's actually going 1-1 melee carapace now. So Dark is actually just getting a bunch of Roach Ravager to keep him safe, and then he's going to swap back into a melee style.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it feels like there's a massive timing on the board for Maru, right? He's going to have 1-1 for an eternity here. Dark's building into melee, and he's going to start up the Hive. I mean, talk about doing things in a crazy manner. These Roaches aren't going to have any upgrades by the Carapace. He's going to be playing like Ling Roach.
I want to see Infestors, 40. I want to see a couple of Infestors, because he can't afford Banelings. No. Banelings aren't cost efficient enough when you're this far behind, right? But maybe a couple of Infestors head towards Ultra Tech.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously this is dangerous, but Dark realizes to get back in this game, he's got to play something a little bit off center.
Yeah, something just a little bit different, right? Something that doesn't quite usually add up. He is going to put the Baneling Nest down, but man, he is an eternity away from Banelings being useful. Never mind the inefficiency. If they don't have speed, is there any point building them? Maru is pushing on forward, though. The attack is coming now. Dark has to figure out what he's going to do about it. 2 tanks are sieged up, and here we go. Maru will stim again. 1-1 against Heroes here. The tanks are putting good damage out. He will bow down one of them. The Marines stand here, continue to fight. For now, Dark is holding this off, but Maru has traded well enough that reinforcements of Maru should be problematic for Dark to deal with.
Oh man, the bio killing so many Ravagers. Yes, he holds on against the push for now, but there's even more coming on in. There's not that much production for Dark. Remember, it's 1-1 versus no upgrades for the Zerg.
Yep, and these Roaches and Ravagers, they just can't be built fast enough right now. This bottom base is in trouble once again. You cannot afford to lose the 4th, as Dark is closing in on 1-1 melee upgrades, yet all he is building, Roaches and Ravagers. Dark loses the 4th base, and Maru is going to keep on trading out for now. He believes he can keep on going here. Those Ravagers exposed on the south side, a tank supporting from the back. Even if Dark cleans this up, the damage he's taken is huge. A tank goes the wrong way on the top left, but Maru is just target firing down Ravagers, will evacuate what he can, and just back it up, because he's done the damage already.
Yeah, Dark says never die. He's so good at just surviving these scenarios and somehow dragging the game out, but with a 4th command center on the way, 2-2 upgrades, +1 vehicle weapons, Maru is set up for the next stage of the game. He scans the left side, and you know he's got to feel really confident with that. He may look unimpressed sitting there at that computer, but he realizes, hey, all right, yeah, just casually add the 8 barracks, the 2nd factory, and that 2-2 push will be completely deadly for Dark. He's trying to get Zerglings out with the 2-2 upgrades, but still, like we were saying, Banelings aren't going to help you here. You really need some sort of big comeback play, whether that be a Broodlord switch, Ultra switch, Infestors. You need something to get you back in this game.
Maru will take a moment, get rid of some creep spread, right? Deny that information from Dark. Just make it easier for him to push just in case this game carries on. Just take away some of the things that Dark might use to get back into it. Creep spread is a big part of that with the map control and speed it provides to the Zerg units. Ling trying to scout out, trying to get a read on what's back over here. He did already see this army moving down the right side, but it seems like he's second guessing where it might be.
Oh man, another cancel will be deadly here. This is so annoying for Dark.
Yeah, it really is. The Lings, the Roaches, the Ravagers gonna commit in. Maru doesn't have enough apparently, and he does go for the lift up, saves 1 out of 2 tanks. Not too bad, and he's just got reinforcements coming. That's why he wants to buy time, and he's moments away from 2-2. That added up means he just wants to fight now rather than a few seconds ago.
Oh, that's a dead fourth. Dark doesn't even realize this new army is here. It's so Marauder heavy, it's so tanky as well. Banelings are not going to do well versus this.
They don't have speed either, just for Roaches doing what they can. A few Crows of Baals forcing this army back, and it is going to be Maru. Continue to push tanks forward. This base really feels like it's going to be impossible to hold on to. Let's see if we can find a way. Bane speed is not far away. 7 Banes on the way up. We're still not quite at the 2-2 upgrades, though. The base will go down. Dark gives it up, but those are the Banelings, and they are under fire. They're going to finish and roll into the army as Bane speed finishes. I mean, it's a nice moment as the Crows of Baals land on the medevacs, but Maru is feeling as though he's just got enough of an advantage. He keeps on chasing this down, and he believes he can end this game right here and now. And he might not be wrong. The bio keeps on coming through. Extra tanks sieging up. A few Lings do stream in. Dark really trying to refuse to die. Great Blinding Cloud, but it's his final act in this game. Maru wants to play more StarCraft here.
Shutting down the Roach counter-aggression there in style. And then continuing to just parade across the map. Maru is back in this series, and it's good to see him rallying, getting back on his feet. You were talking about how some early Roach aggression might be a great way to get it. I agree with you. But it turns out that build order, I mean, I guess you just got those 8 Marines in the medevac, the Hellions, the Banshee popping right on time. It was a nightmare scenario, and I think Dark, after scouting that he was up against that with the Zergling, needed to pull back and just keep those Roaches at home for the defense. Maybe then it was a salvageable position.
Maybe, just maybe. We're looking at Tropical Sacrifice for map number 6. Another big one. We've seen Maru play mech on this map earlier. It's going to be fun. Let's just look back at what happened in this game. I mean, it really came down to the way that they opened. Dark's Roaches got seen. Maru was able to get the drop back in time and just fight all of these so easily. And that just set up cancel after cancel on the 4th base. Even when Dark's winning fights or pushing fights back, it's not really winning. It's just buying himself time for the next wave of Maru to come. And he was never really prepared for that next wave. He was always on the back foot, never found counter damage. And it was Maru just making every correct move. He never really gave Dark a truly good fight.
It's good to see Maru bring out the aggressive style and use that momentum on the smaller maps. Going to the next one, though, it is bigger. It's got a lot of ramps to defend. I do wonder, will he try to pull out the mech again, or has he lost confidence in it? Is he feeling like bio is just the way today? Remember, that other game he won was also a game that started terribly for Maru, and he just fought back with like constant waves of bio tank aggression. And, you know, it seems to be the thing that's giving him success. Sometimes it's not what is the best strategy for the map or the best strategy that you're playing, what's working right now in this series. So far, it seems like bio aggression getting under the skin of Dark.
Look at the passionate StarCraft fans pick. It sounds like the rest of DreamHack has left, and we're the only ones still here because we know how to party on a Sunday night. Yeah, we're feeling it. I get it, guys. Let's make some noise. Let's do it. Let's fill this convention center up with StarCraft alone, because in the top right, he's still giving us this finals from Onside Gaming. This is Maru!
And still one game away from sealing the deal. He can feel it. It's so darned close. Reppin' Dragon Phoenix Gaming in the bottom left. He just needs one more. It is Dark.
Does Maru dare mech here? After that previous mech attempt did not go well enough, does he try it again on a map he's already shown us he likes to mech on, or is he content trying to play the bio? because honestly, his bio games haven't been unsuccessful. They've been hit back by timing attacks, good timings from Dark, too much information from Dark. The bio game in itself, I think, is fine.
Absolutely is, and remember, I mean, he can play bio into Ghosts in late game, right? He can do that. We've seen games where he starts with bio and then he ends up with tons of factories and Ghosts coming out and Thors and all sorts of, you know, just late game stuff to round it out. The range Liberators eventually coming in as well to round out that style. Dark, I wonder as well, because like it's the same Overlord pattern every game. He keeps getting pretty vital information, but as the series has gone on, Maru's consistently sending that Marine to shoo it away. Last game he saw like a gas, but he didn't know if that was the first or the second gas. Maybe he clicked on it and could have told from the amount of gas remaining, but definitely not as complete information as spotting the third command center going down.
Yeah, you know, I said it and I was like, actually, he might not know, because Maru, he's been very good about taking like the outer gas first, right? To hide that information if the Overlord only gets that far in. So yeah, I do think it's very likely something that Dark maybe didn't pick up on, in fact, in that last game. You know, I kind of like the idea of playing bio into late game, because this map has a very defendable 4-base setup with a lot of ramps and high ground that helps you be defendable. But the Swarm hosts don't really care about that high ground as much because they fly on in. So if Dark has a way to break you down, maybe it is playing mech into that later game here rather than playing bio. I would say don't encourage the Swarm hosts.
That is a good point. You know, it's funny because you've still got the ramps to defend the Banelings and Ravagers that support the Swarm hosts, but yeah, I mean, it felt like he was on a knife's edge surviving versus Reynor's Swarm host waves. Didn't go well before on Data C, so it's going to be an issue for him. Third hatchery is now on the way. Once again, Overlord coming in, looking for that information. Now, we, of course, know it's a second gas into a nice, quick starport here. But I believe this was, he just doesn't want to lose the Overlord, so still being very cautious is Dark.
Yep, just being absolutely careful till the bitter end. I was just going to see, I wouldn't mind coming up. Maru just likes this build, just like, oh, you know what? This covers me quite nicely against what you might do.
Exact same opening. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, mate. I mean, this is dangerous, of course, because Maru only has 1 life left. Dark still has 2.
That is very, very true. Maru cannot make mistakes, right? You know, you go back to that first game, you definitely can't be losing your early Reaper and stuff, right? They just have to be completely behind you at this stage. I mean, even that last game, he lost a Medevac a little bit unnecessarily. It's been a long day, right? These guys have been playing for, you know, coming up towards 12 hours, right? Since they've been arrived in the venue. It's been a long one. This is really becoming a test of endurance. Maru, he definitely passed a few tests of endurance today. He's had some long series, but I mean, this one is dragging out as well now.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be something about who can play better in the conditions. It's always like that when you come to a live event, when you step outside of your home or a studio that you regularly play in, and you come out to one of these convention-based weekend events. It really is a test for your endurance, how you can manage your condition, how you can perform under pressure. Raven is on the way. He was planning to do the Raven. He had to cancel it to build the Banshee in the last game because he spotted those roaches, of course. The drop coming in towards the main base. Dark caught unawares.
Yep, first Woodermine can unload Burrow up. He's going to unburrow it, relocate it, and just say, yeah, I'm just going to fire this on something useful. Maybe not the eggs, though. I thought he was going to unburrow there. And that is a little mistake from Maru. You see the Hellions looking to dive by. Dark's been so good at defense all game long, but here are the Hellions finding a dive. He splits the drones. The Hellions might just want to try and find a way out while they can, because the Lings were never going to be too far behind the defense.
Yeah, lost a bit of mining time in the main in the third. Only 2 drones, so averts disaster does Dark, and he's got those super quick upgrades already. Melee starting up. He'd like to go once again for potentially massive Zergling aggression. It went so well in game 1 and game 2. And the Carapace does follow on with the +1 melee. Behind this, second and extra barracks and an engineering bay. Oh my gosh, he's doing a 2-base push as Maru.
Yep, we are not 3CC in it. Now this map has actually got some pretty nasty tank positions. This was the map where Raynor lost a map to Bunny on, right? Because the 2-base aggression came in, and if Dark thinks this is something else, he's not quite ready, he could be caught off guard. And if Maru can just get in position, the tank can be very scary here as well. The Zerg can get caught up on the ramps.
It can be so one-sided the way this goes, because the 1-1 upgrades are going to be so quick that Lings can just overwhelm and destroy this. On the other hand, Bane speed is going to be so late. Yeah. So if those Marines are in a big ball in a good position, even if they don't have the armor upgrade, it won't necessarily matter. And you could see either the Terran push just get absolutely destroyed if it gets jumped on before it gets set up, or we could see Dark unable to get the Banelings to connect with the Marines, and it might look just disgustingly good for Maru. I see it going one of those two directions. 4th and 5th barracks going down for Maru as well. He is gearing up for a gigantic push. He's already got Stim. Combat Shields is on the way. The Marines, the tanks are ready. He's got the Raven to clear up the creep. That's going to allow him to get the push path ready.
Yeah, being able to just say, hey, I'm going to be able to walk straight across to where I want to be. That 4th base is going to have some trouble, man. Dark never committed back in. He's got an Overlord. He's just not moved it back in to see exactly what's going on. He's playing on assumptions at this point, but Maru's switch up might just be perfect to take us to a Game 7. Dark is building Lings now. The Bane Nest is almost done, but like you said, it's an eternity until Baneling speed.
Yeah, it hasn't even started yet, so it's all about the Zerglings. The push is already here. Dark needs to go across the map and cut off the reinforcement, and then get ready to flank. He cannot engage this from one side. Giving up the 4th is almost a necessity. He goes in, he gets on top of the siege tank.
I mean, he gets on top of the siege tank as the Marines, though, clean up all of those Zerglings. Maru pulls back here just for a moment, will go the other way. That was before +1 for Maru. That was before combat shield, so that's something to keep in mind. Those upgrades weren't there just yet, but they will be here in just a couple of seconds. Maru's pushing forward. He sees the Banelings morphing, and he will have his reinforcements arriving very soon. They're on their way over, about to reach this middle bridge. A random Baneling gets caught from behind.
Bane speed has not started just yet. There we go. It does start up, sorry. And the +1 armor's on the way. Maru has not started the 3rd command center. He hasn't added reactors on his last 2 barracks. Now he snipes this base off, but that is far from the victory. This is exactly what Dark needed to do. He cannot let the reinforcements arrive at this push. Look at that tank position. That is so deadly.
It is deadly, man. It's so tough to get on top of this. Tucked in the corner, has so much reach. Maru's killing off Banelings before they have a chance to connect. There's another one wandering in to the death zone. We dropped the auto turrets. We're going to commit right now. Maru's trading out with these Zerglings, and he is able to keep on chipping away at that army of Dark. 30 army supply lead for Maru, and just defending the Lings, looking to come in from the other side already.
Dark's got 2-2, but he's got to keep reinforcing this squad on the map. Look, Maru's reinforcing. Dark does not have the numbers to get on top of it. If he lets this 2nd army join, I think Maru's going to be able to kill him. A huge army about to join up with this one, and it's made it across the bridge. It's there.
And it's going to find the Zerglings as well, so that little flank of Dark will not happen. Maru is still pushing in. Baneling speed is not quite there. Maru just has to get out of the way of these few Banes. Now they go off. New Baneling starting, but he doesn't currently have many Banes. He only has 4 ready to go. Maru will see the Banes on that ramp. He knows the situation. This is it from Dark, trying to move in. His Lings get caught on the tank from behind, and the Marines are just unstoppable.
This is just too much from Maru. A beautiful push, taking advantage of these positions. Dark not having the numbers to deal with it. And the delayed Baneling speed there. Maru happy to take advantage and set up in some killer positions.
He was not messing around, was he? He knew just what he wanted to do. He adjusted to the Lings being on the map, cutting off reinforcements, waited a bit longer, and Dark didn't react to Maru waiting. He just left the Lings there, expecting them to keep doing their job. Then they got caught, and Dark just could not find a fight. And from, I mean, do you remember when this felt like this series was going to be like 3-0 and like looking quick? Here we are, Game 7 on the horizon. We're going to Stargazers, which, well, that's a map in itself. Unfortunately, we've got to do a very quick break, then come back and crown ourselves a champion.
Well, it started looking like a bit of a disaster, but it looked like it was going to be one-sided. It was so close to becoming 3-0 to kick things off. And Maru, he has clawed his way back inch by inch. He's bloodied up, he's bruised, his nose is a little crooked, but he's back in this series, mate.
I love the build order choice, man. He has no fear. He knows what he has to do to win on some of these maps. He can't just keep doing the same thing in Dark. You saw how frustrated he was in this game. He just wasn't ready for it. He was so greedy. He was on his way to 2-2. The Bane speed was so late. And just as things are maybe getting to the point where Dark would overwhelm, it's just way too far gone. And Dark is like, man, I do not want to still be here. I'm meant to be 4-0 out of here by now. That game 3 should have been mine. Haven't broken. Now he's having a nap.
Yeah,
that's been a long one.
When you got a long day like this, sometimes you just got to get in the zone. You got to shut your eyes and just focus on what you need to do. Remember, he started this series being the one who was just doing simple, great builds. The fast upgrades, big Ling Banes flooding in. Maru, too slow to raise a depot, too slow to react to this or that. Bam, and Maru was getting crushed, and he wasn't giving him a chance to play the game. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as we go into Game 7. And you know what? We've run the whole gamut, mate. It's Game 7. It's a new map pool with 7 new maps.
Yeah.
And that means Stargazers is coming out. I have not seen not much ZVT at all on this map. It's going to be really interesting to see what the players do on this one.
It is going to be absolutely fascinating. One final map for DreamHack Valencia. This is where it all comes to an end. Dark and Maru have given it their all. Who has that final little bit of energy? We are ready to go into Stargazers. We're starting off in the top right-hand side. He's the one that's brought it back. He is on the hot streak right now. The red Terran player from Onsite Gaming, Valencia, makes some noise for Maru.
And his opponent, he's wrapped up that frustration and he's planned for this game. You know he's coming out with a good one. In the top left-hand side, it is Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Dark. He's got some issues to face on this map, Wardy. Oh my lord.
My goodness, there's SCVs, there's barracks. Maru's going for Maru.
Dude, proxy barracks. He's going to do a 2-Rax Marine Rush here. And the thing is, I mean, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about the other issues on this map, which is the fact that that northern push path is so hard to deal with. You don't have a lot of counterattack and backstab angles with Ling Bane. You can get dropped on the north side of the map. This is what you're going to be thinking about as a Zerg player. You're not thinking about proxy barracks Marine Rush.
No, you are not. Maru sets his gas up behind this, ready in the transition. This Overlord is going for a scout, but it will be one of the later scouts here. Didn't fly straight out to it. It is Overlord number 2. He'll have some prior warning, but the build is set, right? He goes hatch, he goes pool. He hasn't gone gas yet, though, so that's a little bit of mineral saved, and that's nice, because he's not going to waste any time mining gas that he won't use in this. No, Dark, please.
Oh,
no.
he changed the path. He changed the path.
No.
You're kidding me. Oh my god, I mean, we'll see the SCV in a moment. There we go, he sees the SCV. He was in his vision. He should notice that. He's noticed it. Okay, he's noticed it. The SCVs are now coming in. That Overlord needs to get to safety. It's going to head to the left side. And of course, those drones need to stop long-distance mining.
Yeah.
Dark needs to get down here and defend this, and that means pulling the boys.
The long-distance mining, man, and they weren't even doing it accurately. You know, they were meant to mine out the mineral in the middle of the base, and Dark instantly drops the hatchery there. He's going to give up the low ground and just say, I'll take my in-base. Okay.
Wow, that is a very curious call. I was not expecting this at all. Dark ignoring it. 10 slow Zerglings are on the way, though, so is this really ignoring it if you're building this many Zerglings? Now, you can bust it with queens, right? A queen and mass slow Zergling, but with 2 bunkers up? There's no way.
No.
This is a really weird reaction from Dark. Maru piling on the pressure in Game 7 of this Grand Finals. There's so much on the line. I don't know if Dark has the right response.
I mean, it's just weird because he never had a gas early, right? It was hatch pool and then another hatchery, but that just means you don't have gas for a counterattack either. So that's one less thing Maru has to worry about here. This hatchery is just going to go down. Maru must know that Dark is planning to re-expand in the main. Otherwise, I guess he could maybe assume potentially it's some kind of roach counter, but I feel like you'd start to see those soon. As time ticks by, Maru should know roughly what Dark is doing.
2 bunkers up at the front are going to deny that hatchery. The barracks, one going to go for the scout, and one of them will float home. Maru's got the factory up, building a reactor and a starport behind this. And he will, of course, drop the command center as well. He even gets one of the drones as it pops out, looks for another. But they do get back to the safety. Dark's natural expansion on the in-base has built. And that is a full expansion. So don't get me wrong, he's got an expansion mining. The command center has only just started for the Terran. That seems kind of good. There's still a problem though. That's a whole big group of the men with the guns.
It is, and Doc realizing now, hey, I've been making quite a lot of these drones. Let's get a few more lings out and just make sure I'm going to be safe here.
Queens will push that back little by little. The creep tumor out the front does give some good vision and potential movement as well. He's going to use that to spread through the base right now. Is Dark. And the medevac on the way. Very common follow-up and somewhat predictable, I gotta say. You know, we were actually just talking about this in the green room earlier. How, you know, hey, if they go proxy barracks, you know they're always gonna go for a Hellion drop afterwards. That's been the standard for so long. But it's the flexibility and the maneuverability of it that makes it hard to deal with, especially when you've got a delayed Zergling speed and not that many Queens.
Yeah, delayed ling speed and obviously a short drop distance as well to get across to what is now the natural expansion. So the Hellions are set, waiting on the watchtower. The medevac is going to come through, and it's actually going to be the Marine, sorry, on the watchtower. My apologies. The first two Hellions actually only just popped. So the medevac's going to drop these Marines straight in. There's a Queen there dropping some creep spread. The Lings are here too. Dark is kind of ready for it. And Maru will start taking some damage on this medevac. Needs to keep that back a little bit right now. Ooh, can he actually evacuate these Marines? Maybe not. The medevac is too low on HP.
Very
and so
nice.
Dark is going to get rid of a lot of those Marines now.
That was a really good trade there for Dark. 8 Zerglings for 6 Marines. Very happy to take that. And Maru, he's got the in-base expansion, which he will be taking momentarily. Stim is on the way for Maru, but he doesn't really have any extra production just yet. Dark's got his 3rd hatchery coming back up. His supply looking very healthy. His creep's starting to get out there. Talk about handling a messy situation with poise. I was so doubtful of this. I felt that expansion on the in-base would be up too late. Dark, though, well prepared.
This supply block, though, I mean, that Overlord goes down and Dark only just started a couple more, so it's just late, right? They've been grinding these games and little things are getting by them at this point. Again, a real test of endurance as we get back to the base. 3 racks are going to be here, and that means we've got Stim on the way, tank production starting, because this topside pathway is where Maru wants to push. And he will be looking to, I assume, at some point, set up tanks on one side of this as, oh, he's trying to find the creep tumor, and he just can't get it. The Viking's so low. No, don't die, no!
Oh, Maru getting tricky there. You could see there, puckering the lips a little bit, feeling a bit annoyed at the way that went. Roach Warren's on the way. Dark is already thinking, hey, yeah, you might push on this path. I think I want Roach Ravager, something that controls space a little bit more so you can't just abuse the range advantage of Marine tank up against Zerglings. So double Evo chamber, Roach Warren, 4 more gases, and lots more workers. 66 drones, double upgrade Roach Ravager. You know that's a fantastic way to stop a Terran push.
Absolutely, Maru is just going all out, right? I mean, he is going to try and drop some Hellions in here, look for some drones, but the Lings are there in the natural. The good thing is mobility on the medevac and the Hellions. Just going to be able to at least save them. Look for another opening. Maru with 4 racks, 1 engineering bay, just wants to go, go, go. That's exactly what these roaches are designed to stop.
Dude, he does have to be careful about over-droning, though. Even though Roach Ravager shuts down 2 base pushes, I mean, Maru, he's got no combat shield started just yet, but he's got 4 barracks pumping Marines, plus 1 upgrades on the way. His first 2 tanks are out. A 3rd command center does start up here for Maru, but he's going to be very committed to this push. And Dark does need to start building Roach Ravager. He's rounding out his drones for his 3 base saturation. He's thinking about taking a 4th base. Is Dark? I do think Dark is in an exceptional position here in this Game 7. But Maru, it's time for him to start thinking about moving out and getting some damage done, and he's just chilling right now.
Yep, just gonna go medevacs. He leaves the 2 tanks at home, so clearly doesn't feel like he can get going, but I mean, Dark's out in 66 drones. The Roach Ravager is on the way. The timing is very visible right now. The idea of what Dark wants to get done. Maru does keep building tanks, though, and if he keeps building tanks, that will help him in this defense, because this is a map where you can hold 3 bases on 1 choke point unless those minerals on your natural get mined out.
Well, if he's not committing that hard to the pressure, I would like to see Dark add an infestation pit. Roaches will come back to defend along with the Zerglings. Hellion's getting shut down.
Yeah, I mean, Maru just pulled the medevac away. Would rather keep the medevac alive, and he does draw units up over in this direction. He's going to have Marines in. There's Ravagers on the right side. That might be in a good grab, but this 4th base will also fall. Also a decent grab here. Cancels last second, and Maru lifts up, and he will just get out. Keeps all but 2 Marines alive.
All right, Dark is droning up. He's going to rebuild the 4th. Infestation pit drops down as well as the Baneling Nest. Dark is saying, okay, let's swap back into melee. I love this idea. He wants to get the Baneling speed, get that 4th base up, secure a 5th as well. And he's got so much map control with the Roach Ravager. It forces the Terran to turtle back. This gives you a chance to just push that creep out. It can grow across the map. And I feel like Dark, he's actually done so well. I love that he had such a good plan for this map, Wardy.
Yep.
Just the idea of clearing up the back base for a good economic gasless opening. Turns out he had the contingency for the proxy barracks. And I mean, Maru, he's following in an age-old tradition of Korean Terran champions, proxy barracksing in Game 7. They've won so many championships doing this, especially in this matchup.
I know, man, I know. And yet here we are with Dark. A little bit of a supply lead, good work account. Maru's starting to push. His 1-1 will be kicking in soon. +1 already done, but +1 armor. Still building here. The Roach Ravager count is looking great. I just don't see what Maru could really do. I mean, maybe you get this bottom side base, but Dark's already building a different base to expand to as well, right? So you'll have an alternate fourth if he needs it. Obviously, this push does not have tanks, so it's just bio.
Yep.
You can stim in, lift out of there, and evacuate immediately if you need to.
No risk push here. Doesn't want to commit as hard to it, but the Queens do cause him to back off. Good transfuse and defense there. Lives almost finished. Is that a second or third factory in the way? Looks like second factory going down now, as well as that fourth command center about halfway done for Maru. Now, the problem with Roach Ravager is it can be hard to actually attack in and take the opponent out, right? So you could be way out on the map control, the drones, but it can sometimes be hard to leverage this advantage. We know how good Maru is at turtling up into the late game. He very well may be able to survive and make a ghost transition from here.
It's going to clean out a little bit more creep spread, but once again, just going to have to evacuate. That's Maru's plan. Never risk these units. They can always escape. And that's the power of it, is he does split some medevacs away, so he's going to keep 2 out on the map as a drop, and he's going to bring the other 2 back to the right. Spotted by a Zergling, though. Just trying to multi-prong it now, realizing that initially he wasn't getting much done. Man, Dark has units everywhere, so he knows exactly what Maru is planning.
Marines stimming up forwards, trying to push this creep back. Such good creep spread for Dark. Ultra Cavern goes down, as well as, of course, a couple of Vipers will be joining in to counter those siege tanks with Blinding Clouds. Now, does need to remember +2 melee does Dark now that the +1 has finally kicked in. But Baneling's coming out. The Ravagers do chew up a lot of supply. Remember, 3 supply each, so the supply can be a little deceptive here with solid 10 Roaches and 9 Ravagers taking up a large portion of that.
Maru looking to maybe go through the top side, but he's probably worried about the watchtower vision. Dark doesn't actually hold it right now, but Maru doesn't know that, of course, so a little bit uncomfortable as to what he wants to do. Maru does expand downwards. He doesn't take the forward base. He wants to play a defensive base here. And this base is defensive. The choke's into, you've got to knock down rocks to open up that space. He wants to get up to Ghost. He wants to play this slow. That's where Maru plays his best TVZ, and that's what he's on the way for right now.
5 Dropper-Lords on the way. Oh my gosh, Dark is planning a mass Ling Baneling drop on the in-base expansion. This is such a clever way to take advantage of the map. I mean, we're here thinking, hey, these players haven't played these maps. Dark, I don't know if he was trolling or not, saying, oh, I haven't even looked at the map. I don't even have builds. Oh, yes, he does have builds for these maps. He is so well prepared for Stargazers. Right now, loading up a massive Ling drop in the north of the map, and it is heading towards that natural 1 Baneling hidden in there as well. Maru's got a big attack on the front at the same time.
Yeah, he's got to deal with multiple places. Tanks getting blinding clouded, but he does hit an EMP, so only 2 of the tanks blinding clouded, but Ravager Bowls are hitting the rest of them. It's a big, messy fight, but it's the Lings and the natural that are going to do the damage. 12 SCVs going down, but all of these Ravagers keep on falling. Massive piles at the end there, though. 14 SCVs, Lings still not dealt with, and Dark has taken a humongous lead.
6 siege tanks going down. SCVs getting torn up in the main and the natural. Ghost trying to come back. Maru did not see this coming. Nobody uses Zergling drops like this, but Dark surprising his opponent, burrowing Zerglings in all the different bases. He is playing a wily, sneaky style Ultralisk transition on the way behind it. Just when it felt like Maru was stabilizing, getting towards a 5th expansion, getting his ghost count up, Dark brings out all of the surprises.
Scans needed to clean out these Lings as well, which is just frustrating at this point. He's finally going to stop it, but those Dropper Lords are still alive, so there's nothing stopping Dark loading up and trying to go again and make, apart from maybe the threat of Ghost sniping those Overlords down before they get there. And those Lings on the ramp are just watching to see when Maru has brought everything out of the main base. Dark is maxed out, and Dark is readying himself to go once more.
I'd love to see an attack on the south side. If he can bust that planetary on the 4th, that would be huge. More drops, just small ones, going in towards the space. And even that's enough to easily beat a siege tank. This is just going to cause a distraction. It's basically free. Huge attack on the front at the same time.
Oh, Maru only had one of his tanks siege. The other does get there, but it's taken down so quickly. It doesn't feel like enough bio right now. He's running to the planetary fortress looking for aid, but Dark is going to rampage through. The Banelings are not being stopped. Goodbye, planetary. Goodbye, SCVs. 47 workers.
Oh, my
he
Lord.
makes it 50. Dark is going and a win for Valencia!
That was an absolutely amazing turnaround. A fantastic series, and he gets it done in the end with the 4-3 at the end of a grueling day of StarCraft.
Absolutely beautiful from Dog. I love the style, right? He plays aggressive. He plays against mech. He does everything he needs. Dog, he has done it. He is your Valencia champion.